freak.
You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth.
What do all men in power want? More power.
My name is luca-zanna. I was an Italian by birth, and I became an American by choice. Our lives and freedoms are in danger. This is not a dream. If you're listening to this broadcast, you are the resistance.
All systems go.
Welcome to Love, Guns, and Freedom. Here we go, guys and girls. Another Sunday, another show. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna on KTOX 1340 AM and also 104.1 FM. All right, this is an interesting show, and unfortunately, I'm not happy about it. Because I wish we could talk about happy things. I wish we could talk about things to enjoy life. Maybe Zanna coffee, maybe love, maybe some serenades, whatever. Unfortunately, we really are in a very serious situation for America, of course, first, and also for the rest of the world, because we are facing this global tyranny. And these tyrants behind the scenes, they're really plotting very hard to destroy every rights we have left. And of course, I always say, when America dies, when America goes down, everything will go completely down and will be hopeless. And I'm not trying to say this because, I have to put, let's say, oh my gosh, you are an American and that's the way it is. No, that's exactly the way it is. America is the last obstacle to the globalist, to the complete creation of global government. And one of the things really they need to completely destroy before they can accomplish their goal is our Bill of Rights, especially the First and the Second Amendment. The other one is pretty much all gone, but the First and the Second Amendment is what really makes us unique around the world. Freedom of speech, it doesn't apply in Europe or the rest of the world. Most of this show, most of my topics that I talk during the show, if I was broadcasting in Europe, I would be arrested so many times it's not even funny. And of course, the Second Amendment, this is the only place where it is a natural right. It is not a privilege. Of course, now we know this is part of the agenda. They've been working about destroying our Second Amendment for many, many years. And every time they need to find some sort of a problem, because there's going to be a problem-reaction solution. Now, almost like this point a week ago, probably you heard everywhere on mainstream news and also on alternative media, you don't know exactly what happened, but you have an idea that something happened in Las Vegas. And the problem is when I say that, because I do not trust anything coming out of the official media. And not because I want to be, let's say, a conspiracy theory. No, just because I want to use my brain, like I hope you do the same. We have a brain, we have eyes. And we know that even they control most of the outlet of the media, the output of the media. There is still a lot of people out there with independent cameras, YouTubes, and also we can have access to information, thank God, that somehow completely make us realize that whatever we've been told on TV by the official ABC network, guess what? No, that doesn't make sense. Now, I want to start to make at least some, let's put it this way, I'm not going to tell you what I really think because it doesn't matter. What I want you to do, I want you to start to use your brain and start to think, and maybe whatever you've been told so far, it is not true. And I will use, different friends and people during the show who have different interesting backgrounds. Okay. The second hour, I have my friend Patrick, the owner of Against All Enemies gun shop, and also is a gun manufacturer, and also is a former Marine. And by the way, he makes machine guns. So we will listen to his, let's say, technical input. Now I have another guy who's a friend. I know him so many years, since when I was in California. His name is Robert Crooks, and also is a former Army man. Robert from Las Vegas. Robert Crooks, are you there?
I'm here, sir. Good morning.
All right, good morning. Good afternoon. Listen, we've been touch base the last few days. You sent me links, and I was posting links, and we have all these different YouTubes, articles from, let's say, independent media. And then at the end, we start to really say, okay, even if half of the stuff we have may be not true, we have videos and audio that we can listen, not just as an article written by somebody, but real evidence that completely destroys the official version of what we've been told by the government and also by the official media. What do you think?
I think that what we're looking at is a massive false flag event. I have been monitoring this as a resident of Las Vegas since the onset. And it started out at about 10 p.m., 10:10 Sunday evening. My wife, who works on the Strip, was on her way home. She gets off work at 10 o'clock en route home. We were on the telephone. Several police vehicles passed my house where I live in my part of town, and she heard them over the telephone. And she said, "Wow, that's pretty crazy. What's going on?" I said, "I don't know." And she goes, "Well, she just passed several law enforcement vehicles northbound I-15 because she was going southbound I-15, and I turned my scanner on. Immediately, I picked up exactly what was going on real time on the Strip, and it is explosive. All of these scanner recordings that have been, that I personally, my wife and I personally listened to, have been scrubbed, have been erased. I do have a transcript posted on my Facebook page of the actual events that were going on, real time on Sunday the night, and it just totally obliterates the narrative that mainstream media is trying to put across the nation as to the events. What we're looking at here is a deep state attack on not just our Second Amendment, but on the rights of the American citizens, and the people in America are like sheeple. They're buying it, and it's totally false, Luca. Totally false.
Let's
as evidence is, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I would like to say, let's remind exactly right now, today, because they may change always every time, what is the official final version of the government about this situation? What exactly, how the facts went?
Okay, they are pushing a lone wolf narrative of shots fired from the 32nd floor that created all this devastation on the event grounds across the street from Mandalay Bay. I have proof that there were multiple shooters at the event, and they were not even on the Mandalay property across the street. I have an eyewitness report from one of the members, or one of the event goers that was running eastbound. Listen to this. Mm-hmm. Running eastbound away from Mandalay building across the street, and received fire coming from the eastbound of the event, killing a girl with a headshot going eastbound, verifying the fact that there are multiple shooters on the east side of the event shooting into the event as it was going on. As this totally blows the narrative. Also, after doing some analytical work on the sound of the machine, the gunfire, it has been deduced that there were two belt-fed automatic machine guns, probably M249s, or the 7.62 caliber. The also hidden underneath the belt-fed machine gun fire, you can isolate at least two M4 automatic weapons under with suppressors, doing full automatic bursts underneath the cover of the belt-fed fire shooting spree.
Wow.
Now, the M4 shots, the M4 recordings are close range, indicating that they were within the confines of the event themselves. Also, video has been put out of a individual dressed as a security officer or law enforcement with an M4 firing into the crowd point blank. Now, I have posted this. Okay. I have been relentless on this. I have not slept. I have been going on an hour or two a night or day, trying to find some rational behind the reasoning behind, getting the facts together. We will mourn our dead, yes, but we need to do them honor by finding justice for this. And this is what my quest has been for the past 4 days. And I posted today, one of the victims of the shooting verifies at least 3 to 4 shooters, and we already are aware of this, on the properties across the street from Mandalay. Now, last night, after 3 days, the Review-Journal released a video. I went through that video several times, enlarged it, slow-moed it. It perfectly shows. You can hear the automatic gunfire going off at the event, but there is zero, I say this again, zero reports or muzzle flashes coming from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay building. Now, further, the FBI has put out, okay, here's the bigger picture, Luca.
Yes.
This is Las Vegas, Nevada. There are cameras on every street corner, cameras in the elevators, cameras. Where is the footage from, the surveillance footage from the casinos? Where is the footage from Las Vegas Metro? Where is this footage? Why is this footage not being released? Because this is a massive cover-up. There is deep state involvement in this operation Sunday night beyond belief. This is mind-boggling, sir. It's mind-boggling. The evidence that's starting to filter through.
No, I believe it. This is, I said, the biggest the lie, and more people may have to believe it, or at least they have to do not believe, because this is also being planned in plain view. It was exactly to post it in a big crowd, and it wasn't just in some close building. So there is so much. Hard to believe almost. And I know that there is a lot of people out there. You cannot even have a conversation about facts because, they are so emotionally trapped and they want to find the easy way out, the easy answer that pretty much is already being served on a cold platter out there. We have this person that honestly I don't even think is the one that they show in the photos. I mean, honestly, I start to also see evidence. There may be another person. They just shot him and dropped him there for what I can see. What do you think, first of all? You think really that this man, he was the one that he was even used as a patsy? Or maybe he was just shot and thrown there as some sort of, I don't know, set up?
I believe that this has the earmarks of the Lee Harvey Oswald set up. Even to the placing of the Antifa literature in the room. After inspecting the leaked photographs of the alleged room that this perpetrator was assassinated in, there is zero. I mean, if this, okay, perfect. I've been around guns all my life. I mean, I spent 10 years on the border. I'm ex-military, ex-law enforcement. If this person in that room had perpetrated this kind of carnage with the amount of firepower, with the amount of shooting, he would have had brass up to his ankles in that room.
Yeah.
After looking at the pictures over and over again, I see maybe 50, maybe even 100 spent casings on the floor,
yeah.
Which is preposterous. It's preposterous for the amount of gunfire that went on that night. And I listened to it. I have gone over video, over tapes, over and over and over again. There were thousands of rounds fired. Yeah. Thousands.
Exactly.
60 people were killed. 500 people were injured. How can this be? How can this possibly be? For them to put this narrative out that this was one load shoot. Okay, now Monday, this happened on Sunday night. Monday I went to Mandalay Bay and observed it. Last night I went back down there to look at it again. Now, the strip is open in front of Mandalay Bay now, but all of the east side of the event is sealed up. My question is why? I believe that the FBI, ATF, or the involved parties there are in the process of policing the area of evidence of shell casings. Now, the shell casings you're going to find are going to be 5.56, 7.62, and this is what they don't want out there in the property across the street, because that will blow away the narrative of the single lone wolf shooter from Mandalay Bay structure.
Exactly.
That's why this area is so locked down. I was down there last night looking. I was going to,
I have some questions. Let's start from the basics, okay? I want to try to really say, okay, I want to believe what the propaganda government media going to tell me, but I want to start to have some questions. First of all, let's start from the basic things, okay? We're talking about allegedly this man, the perpetrator. He was about, 64, 65-year-old? I mean, he wasn't a kid anymore, right? So it wasn't like a senior, in decent shape probably, but he didn't have any military background. He wasn't any type of, special military skills. Or
this is what they're saying, yes.
Okay, so we know that he's a regular guy, okay? So you had to move about probably 400 pounds of guns and ammunition, I guess. By the way, first question, why do you need, 47 guns to do what you wanted to do? Maybe 2 guns, maybe 3 guns. Let's just say you want to change the barrel so they don't overheat. That's ridiculous to tell me that you need 47 guns. I mean, not even Rambo, okay, does that stuff, okay, in the movies.
Right.
So anyway, first thing, it's ridiculous that you want me to, I think that's the agenda there, want to show that everybody with more than 5 guns now is a suspect in America. Number one.
Exactly.
Number two, moving 400 pounds or more for 30 floors, okay, where we know very well that every time you check in or even outside on the strip, there are cameras everywhere, as you were saying. And you tell me nobody got suspicious that he was carrying all these boxes of stuff back and forth to this hotel room. Very unbelievable. Now, then you tell me, they tell us that this man allegedly created like 2 sniper nests in 2 different rooms. How can you do that without even nobody noticing that? Then he supposedly disarmed the fire alarms and other security system, okay? You remove the window, that is one of these windows that are not like the regular home windows, okay? They're not. They're special hurricane-proof glass windows, okay? They're hard. You need special tools. You can't do that. At least people will notice it. And then, of course, he shot for 10 minutes that, not impossible things, I see people shooting professionally, like military guys, that's all they do for a living, shooting full automatic, and they're young, and, you cannot really sustain, especially unless you have, let's say, a tripod or bipod, even bipod, gun system on your shoulder to start to shoot that type of firepower without even, feeling tired. It's ridiculous. The audio that we have, it was completely, not only, as you say, overlapping. That's not the thing, makes no sense. There were more than 1 gun shooting for sure. But more important, he didn't stop. He was really like Delta Force, this guy. Unbelievable, professionally executed, And one important thing that you said at the beginning, and I didn't just say this, other military people that I heard from them too. The sound that we have, at least part of the sound, and also the frequency and the rate of fire, it didn't sound like something out of a 5.56 or 223. It was more it was much lower and deeper the sound, and even the rate was much more like a 762 by 39 or maybe 308. So right there, anybody who has any type of professional expertise in ballistic and military operation with weapons, that's a done deal, in my opinion. It is not even an option. the sound is the sound. So all these things.
Correct.
Just these things. I don't even go into other deeper details. And then we have a photo of this man that out of the blue now, it seems like completely another person. By the way, so convenient. His head was blown out, by the way. You can't even really see in his face. But my question is, nobody really knows if he shot himself or was what? The SWAT team shot him? My point is, who really, according to the media, who shot him? How did he die?
Or was he even shot? He could be down in Mexico drinking margaritas.
Yeah, exactly. But my
that
point
could be
is,
a dummy.
exactly.
That whole thing could be a Hollywood set.
Exactly. But my point is, let's say the official media news, what exactly says? This man was killed by the SWAT team or was, let's say, or kill himself? Because the latest one I heard that was the FBI SWAT team killed him.
Right. There are two conflicting stories being pushed right now. One that the wounded security guard found at the elevator shaft was in fact part of the hit team, and he's the one that shot the perpetrator. Oh, that's A.
Wow.
B, they're saying that HRT entered. Okay, actually makes there's three. HRT entered with the breach on the scanner. You heard that? Well, I don't know if you listened to it.
Yes.
When they hammered the door, and that they were the ones that initiated the demise of the perp. Okay, now
yes.
The third one is that he shot himself, which after looking at the photograph, I find that very hard to believe, with the placement of the handgun, the placement of the brass on top of the blood pool. I mean, this is stuff that, this is Hollywood. This is strictly right out of a set in a Hollywood movie. I don't believe that there were any shots fired from the 32nd floor without without seeing the reports of the weapons. He had to be way back inside the room so you couldn't recognize the flashes. If that in fact is true, there's no way he could have made the shots at the event because of the line of sight would put the perpetrator in a position where he couldn't even made it to the event ground. So there's so many conflicting things. Like I say, the truth of the matter is, and I believe this with all my heart, that there were two belt-fed, high-caliber, fully automatic machine guns, probably M249s, maybe M60s. I don't know for sure which and which. But they laid the cover fire to force the crowd up against the closed gates. And who turned the lights on? Whose idea was it to illuminate, making a kill zone?
Yeah.
Luca, that's what they did. They made a kill zone, and they used M4 automatics to do the real carnage.
Wow.
The embedded assassins were on the property at the event. At 223, you know as well as I, has got a probably effective range of, 100 yards.
200 yards of flash. And on top, the sound is different. But, I believe you're right, because there were more than just two shooters from this building, from the hotel. There were also people on the floor. This was like a real military operation. You have the big machine guns on top, and then you have people on the field.
At the same time, they're choreographing okay, here's something else to think about. Now, the police in Las Vegas, Nevada, right, when some event goes down, typically they switch their scanners to what we call analog. In other words, it's a beeping, beep, 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 and they don't want the public who listens to the scanners, predominantly I do every day. I've got the scanner on all the time.
Yeah.
My wife works downtown. I have to.
Yeah.
Anyhow, why did they allow the open air transmission of the entire scanner transmissions go over the air, unless it was by design?
Yeah.
So this has got deep ramifications as the people that were involved. Now, furthermore, after going back over the police scanner audio, and this is what my wife and I both listened to in real time when this was happening. There are several episodes on the released police scanner recordings now that have been deleted, Luca.
Yeah.
We heard the sheriff report. This is verifiable. Active shooter gate number 7 in the event. Now this comes from an on-scene law enforcement officer, real time over the police scanner. The second most so disturbing about the police scanner recording that we listened to was the sheriff, on-scene sheriff at that time, reported automatic gunfire from the 4th or 5th floor of the Mandalay Bay. Yes. Now, I went down there and I took a look. I couldn't see because they had it blocked off. But even looking at the distance between where the 4th or 5th floor would have been, I do not believe that they could have had a visual array of viable target zone line of sight from that location. I believe it's fluff. I believe it was put out there to distract. What we're dealing with is disinformation and misinformation on a government level.
Yeah, no, I agree. This is. What do you think? You know, President Trump is not an idiot. I mean, if we can figure it out, this, me and you, that, you know, we are here. He has at least access to much more, let's say, I mean, after all, he's the president. Even, of course, deep state is still there, and he has power probably bigger than he has. But my point is, what do you think? I saw his speech when he was talking, and his body language just after this event, the tragic event, it was a little different from his regular speech. I know probably he was very much, you know, emotionally touched. I saw also something normally never does. He was also holding, you know, contact with his wife. You think President Trump is aware that pretty much this is going on, and he has to believe the official version that is presented to him by these bureaucrats at the different agencies? Or maybe you think maybe it's just part of the game? What do you think?
Well, okay, that's a very good question. I've thought of that many times. I think a lot of it, too, might be the fact that there might be a fear factor involved. All right. The people we're dealing with, the people he's dealing with, they can assassinate an ambassador, a Supreme Court judge. And the caskets in the Clinton closet go beyond count. Mm-hmm. Seth Rich, I mean, I don't even want to get into them. And do you think these people would even hesitate to whack out 50 and injure 500 to push their agenda?
Yeah.
So I believe with the Donald Trump machine right now, I think they're facing what could be construed as a bit of a fear factor. And I think he's gingerly going about this gingerly, because I don't think he already knows that he's a target. But I don't think he wants to put himself directly in the gun sights at this moment. I have all my trust in Donald Trump. I'm a member of the Trump campaign. I'm the commissioner here at District F, CCRP. I'll be running for assembly here at District 35, and I'm running on the Trump machine. I believe in Donald Trump and making America great again and the whole ideology behind it. He isn't the answer from above. He's going to save this nation, but we have to give him a chance. The problem is, Donald Trump hasn't even made 1 year of his election cycle yet, and look at the trauma going on across the nation. This is by design, Luca.
No, I understand. The design, I understand. And as I said, I completely believe that regardless of Trump may be not perfect, it seems really that the globalists are afraid of him could be the slowing down of what they wanted to do. At the same time, now I see also another thing. As I said, after all, he's a human being. He has a family, he has children, and he has a wife. And last time a president, for the first time, tried to expose the man behind the curtains with the latest speech, you know, and also let's not forget the executive order that was trying to completely destroy the powers of the private Federal Reserve. That was JFK, and 2 weeks later was shot to death. So at this point, you know, I also say Trump may have had great intention when he got into office, even not perfect, but still great intention, at least to stop the globalists. At the same time, right now, he realizes that after all, he has enemies in his own party, he has enemies in the bureaucracy, he has enemies everywhere he turns around, even in the White House. So how much can he really do? Because let's look at facts, another thing. It's been almost now 1 year, and unfortunately, even the president, of course, is just the president. He does not make laws. At the same time, reality proven that the Republican Party is a fraud, at least a big part of the Republican Party is a fraud, and they were hiding behind the lies that, after all, there is President Obama, so we cannot really do these things. For example, Obamacare, we had a chance to repeal it, bang, is still there. And at that point, the tax cuts supposed to be happening, bang, nobody really want to touch it. And many other things that at least Congress supposed to do. Now, Trump, on the other end, of course, when it comes down to executive powers, that's supposed to be at least his jurisdiction. He could have repealed some executive orders, that Mr. Obama did. And I'm very concerned about DACA, for example. That's something that I don't even think should go to Congress. If it was something done by a president, another president should completely burn it. And, and I'm very concerned about also his stance on Afghanistan and Syria. He changed completely 360. Now, or maybe 180, 360 is not right. But now my point is gun control. He said, at least according to headlines on Yahoo News, and that was, of course, I think sometimes we can read a lot, but he said, gun control, we will talk later. Now, do you think that maybe President Trump, he will somehow back down from his position, especially during the campaign, when it comes down, for example, on the suppressors law? We're supposed to have now, almost in Congress, a bill that was supposed to make, finally, suppressors for firearms like you're buying a gun. And also, of course, other bills like, the 50 reciprocity concealed carry state. So what do you think? Trump, is he going to change his mind, or is going to keep steady here? What do you think?
I believe that Trump will stay the course, and he'll honor the amendments of the Constitution. Like I said before, and I say again, I think he's tiptoeing through the tulies on this because of all the enemies that he has in his camp and around him, and what he's dealing. The evil that we're dealing with, Luca, is phenomenal. Like you said earlier, the United States of America is the last bastion of freedom on the planet. And we are under a vigorous assault 24/7 to destroy our nation. Now, last night, here's something I want to put out there. Last night, coming back from the crime scene, as I'm calling it, there was a parade of trucks and flags and people going down the strip that just gave me chills. This was Americana rallying to the event. I mean, there was, I don't know, I must say 1,000 patriots cruising Las Vegas Boulevard in front of Mandalay Bay, honking their horns with flags. And that when I saw that, it gave me hope, knowing that the evil people that are trying to destroy this nation cannot succeed, because the will of the American people is so strong. And I believe we just stay the course, trust in Trump, and I believe Trump is going to pull us through this. I believe that he's navigating through some very, very challenging course in this right now. And I believe that he's totally aware of what's going on. I believe that he knows that this was a false flag. I mean, check it out. What was the first tweet on Monday morning that came from Hillary Clinton? It wasn't condolences to the injured. It wasn't anything about. The first thing she went after was the flash suppressor. Mm-hmm. Now, she know that the flash suppressor was used in the actual event, unless she was privy to it. I mean, that's my theory. Of course, I have no proof to back that up, but it's so coincidental that her first tweet after the incident wasn't condolences to the wounded or to the families of the deceased. It was immediate attack on our Second Amendment. And secondly, the bump stock theory. There is no way, brother. No way. I have shot bump stock. There is no way you can shoot bump stock and accurately hit your target. All a bump stock is, it gives you the thrill of an automatic weapon, waste ammunition. You can't hit anything. Exactly.
And also another thing, the point is, these are trying to really to get to, if we break down right now, let's say many of us, we may not even think that we need a bump stock, okay? I have few myself, but I never really use them. As you say, it's a waste of ammo. Sometimes can be fun, but it is not something I would use to defend my life. I wouldn't put my life into a bump stock. But for them, it's a principle. If you start to give in on one thing, next time it's going to be even easier.
Slippery slope.
Exactly. But the problem, I still wonder, I wonder, because I understand they want gun control. We know that. This has been going for so long. But my point is, I think it's beyond gun control this time. I really believe there is something deeper.
Oh, it is. It's about conquest. Okay, if you look at the big picture, I call it following the money. Jim Moran, who controls MGM Grand Properties, right? Okay, Mandalay Bay is a member of part of the MGM Grand Properties.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 2 months ago, Moran come out and says that he will match dollar to dollar for all employees that support CARE. For crying out loud, CARE is an Al-Qaeda, Hamas, terrorist organization supporter.
Mm.
So don't you think it kind of, it sounds kind of crazy, but could you see how that would be allowed to happen on MGM properties? Because this brings in the ISIS, radical terrorist, angle in on this, and this would could you see how the deep state would kind of want to back away from it?
I also believe something deeper too. What do you think about North Korea right now? Russia, North Korea. We are pretty much almost on World War III, but now we don't talk about this anymore. We are just talking about this crazy guy that allegedly shot a bunch of people. What do you think?
Well, I think here we're back to the distractors. Okay, I think we've allowed the Kim Jong, the machine in North Korea to go way beyond the control states. I think the only way we're going to eradicate it is through force. I hate to say it, but I believe that if his machine is not put in check, he will detonate a thermonuclear device on mainland America. And I believe that with all my heart. And I believe that we should preemptive strike him. Well, remember what Obama says? I got a pen and I got a drone. Drone strike.
Yeah, but at least you know that very well. You know, this man, or at least this, let's say, this country, okay, the only reason why it exists, and people, they are not completely having to eat rocks, because the United Nations, that means mostly our dollars, tax dollar, is been funding with humanitarian aids for many, many years, North Korea.
Right.
The moment that we say, you know what, you love your system, you think communism is the right answer, fine, that's your world. We don't give you any more a dime. We don't give you any more a bag of food or anything. Right. You on your own. They wouldn't last a week. They wouldn't last a week. So I really believe North Korea is being propped all these years like communists. Remember, the first communist revolution, the Bolshevik revolution, was funded by the bankers of London and New York because they needed to create an enemy to finance, exactly, to the enemy that's never going to stop. So they're going to finance in both sides. And we're going to live for 50, 70 years in Cold War and also many wars like the Vietnam Wars. And meanwhile, the bankers, they create their empire because when we are at war, all the states must go to the bankers to get money. So I really believe that North Korea, it is unfortunately a creation of our tax dollar, we want it or not. I mean, let's not forget, how do they get the nukes? Let's thank the Clintons. Let's thank people like, you know, the from the last 20 years administrations they've been giving us. So it is not just out of the blue North Korea now is a threat. We've been indirectly, I mean, not we the people, but our treasonous, the politicians, they've been feeding these people, of North Korea, and now we have an enemy that, of course, is out of control. So I don't know, you know, we will see. We will see. What I'm concerned is not just North Korea, it's China, Russia, of course. They are all together, and now out of the blue, we're supposed to have a little bit of peace when we were thinking about Russia and America finally with Trump, but unfortunately, they think they are back to Cold War, and that's very sad.
The New World Order will not allow peace. It's not in the agenda.
Yes.
They want order through chaos. We understand the drill. Oh, and listen, let me bring up something else real quick that's very
Go ahead.
Heavy on my mind. With this incident at Mandalay Bay and across the street at the 91 event, they're going to usher in a body scan security system, probably implemented by TSA, in every casino on the Strip. Mark my words.
Yes.
This is going to be a huge invasion of our Fourth Amendment Privacy Act. Okay. Furthermore, there's another reason why Las Vegas, Nevada, and the powers to be in our community are keeping a lid on this. Now, Las Vegas, Nevada has no industry.
Yeah.
Our only dollar-generating machine is tourism.
Yeah.
Okay. The events that happened Sunday night, there were shootings at New York, Circus, Aria, Tropicana. I have a list. I don't have it. Well, I have it actually on my.
Okay.
Okay, and this has been scrubbed. All of this information is scrubbed. Here's the bigger picture. If the people in America had realized that this was a full-blown terrorist attack in Las Vegas, Nevada, it would kill, Luca. It would kill the tourist industry or the money-generating engine giant that keeps Las Vegas moving, functioning. Yeah. So there's a bigger reason why they're going with the lone wolf theory. If they found out that this was, in fact, a full-blown terrorist attack on the Strip in Las Vegas, Nevada on 9/11, well, it'd be a 9/11 type attack, 10/1. It would kill our city and our state. No one would ever come here again. I mean, it would be over. So that's another side of the coin.
Yeah.
It's like a diamond, Luca. You hold it in your hand and you turn it, and there's so many different facets. Yeah. I mean, there's so many different facets. I mean, this was okay, strategically speaking, this was genius.
And also, let's put it this way, that could be also a message.
From the globalist point of view, this was a genius stroke. They accomplished so much in one 10 minutes of time frame in our history to push their agenda for domination, control, taking away our rights. Now, can you imagine going into a casino in Las Vegas, Nevada now and have to go through complete body scans to register? Yeah. I mean, now also I'm finding out today that the actual vehicle was checked into valet at properties, the MGM properties, days before reported by the FBI.
Wow.
Days.
Wow.
I mean, all this stuff is starting to filter out. And as we are only 4 days away from the event. Yeah. And now snippets of truth are starting to filter through. That's why I've been on this so religiously. Yeah. I'm going to say this again. Yes, let's mourn our dead, but let's do them honor by finding justice.
You know what? One thing I'm concerned. I really like when I see, of course, Americans, people getting together and not being afraid and coming back really on the streets. The only thing I'm concerned is sometimes some of them, or some of us, I say, they may have all the good heart, all the good intention to really find to fight for justice, but they can also be used and manipulated for something exactly for the wrong situation. Like, for example, after 9/11, America finally got united, and we were all, really believing that we had to stand together to fight the enemy. But the problem is many of us still don't know exactly who the enemy was. And they use us for their agenda, and they pretty much use us, our emotions and our energy and our blood and our money for their agenda. So this is exactly...
Just to process what happened as soon as 9/11, here comes the Patriot Act. Boom.
Exactly. And it comes, the endless war that never ends, and the trillions of dollars that we need to give to the military-industrial complex till we die, and our sons.
We're back to the boogeyman. We need someone to hate. Okay, we prop up this mysterious creature, the Islamic terrorist. Right now, we have somebody to hate.
Now,
misdirection, amigo, misdirection for the effect of pushing the venue of the globalization of the planet.
I mean, did you hear that?
This is deep state, deep money, Rothschilds. I mean, this is the banking institute, the bankers, and trying to control. Because this little incident that happened Sunday, all it's going to do is usher in more control and the taking away of more rights. Christ. I mean, doggone it. They're already going after the Second Amendment. I mean, okay, bump stock, boom. Okay, suppressor, boom. This is the slippery slope of destroying the Second Amendment. No, but it shall not be infringed. That's what it says. That's what it means.
Remember Australian gun massacres in 1996, okay? There was, first of all, Australia is a part of the Crown. They are still subjects like Canada. I'm sorry, I have a lot of friends, but this is the truth. Still under the Queen, okay? The bottom line, though, they don't have a Bill of Rights, but they had at least some privileges. They could have access to firearms. After that massacre, That was completely no law-abiding person can have a gun anymore in Australia. Same story
Right.
they're trying to do here, but they need to do it bigger. And of course, they cannot just do it overnight because they know they need to hit the wall till finally enough idiots they will completely, for example, believe these lies. And that's what. But as you said, I don't think it's just only a Second Amendment tactics. Of course, they want to use it against that. I believe it's a distraction. I believe also maybe it could be a message they want to send to President Trump. So you better play game with us, play ball with us, or next time you can see that multiplied by 10 in 10 different cities. Okay?
Yep.
And that's what I really believe it is about now, because I see Trump is changing many policies that during the campaign it was completely black and white. He's been changing one after another one. And I see sometimes in his body language something that I'm not an expert in body language, but I can see, I have eyes. And I see when somebody, it is not the same man when it was during the campaign. They was pretty much, let's say, straightforward and fearless. Now I think maybe they finally got a message. After all, there are some you can do. They allow you to do things just to make you believe you are a little different from others. But when it comes to the real things, we will see. I pray that we, the American people, because I don't believe that any president honestly can save us, Robert. As much as Trump he may mean well, it must be us. When we finally reach critical mass, that we do not buy anymore their lies. And you say, you know what, all this propaganda, we know this is a joke. And we finally unite, regardless party affiliations. And we'll get together and we'll start to confront peacefully our legislators and say, hey, you moron, don't tell me that you believe that crap, okay? And when you come back to Washington, you better grow some balls and goes to tell us, to the rest of the monkeys out there, that we know that this is all a show. And we are not buying it. We never bought a ticket.
The power is in the vote, Luca. That's why I'm running for election here in Las Vegas, Nevada, Clark County, state of Nevada, because a voice needs to be heard in Carson City that resounds across the nation. We are being led by liberal lawyers who have been placed in there through fraudulent voting processes. My key campaign promise is ID to vote. We have to cherish and preserve the electoral process, election process in America. We've allowed the proletariat, if you want to say, to compromise the election process in America. We can't get a straight vote because of the illegal voting that's been perpetrated across the nation.
Yes.
Not just isolated in Nevada. Arizona. I mean, how do you think John McCain has stayed in office so long? Now Jeff Flake has been put in there because this is cartel contribution coming across the open borders that plague the state of Arizona and America through the illicit drug narcotics trafficking and human trafficking that we know is perpetrated in Arizona and New Mexico and Southern California. This open border advocacy, or cartel cash, I call it. John McCain is nothing but like Raul Gavalda. They're nothing but cartel congressmen. They cater to the dollar coming from the open border activism, Mincha, La Raza, and all these open border machines that have been put together by the globalists to destroy this nation. And I say this from the bottom of my heart, and I've been saying it for over a decade and longer. The United States of America has been invaded, and we're being invaded, and it's time to secure our border lockdown. That's what I vote for Trump for, the secure the border concept. And we have to turn our backs on the border and start knocking DACA out. We have to stop the sanctuary status that's been perpetrated across the nation. We have to defund these sanctuary cities. We have to allow ICE to do their jobs. But then we have to worry about the corruption in the ICE machine also. This is huge. It's a huge, huge problem. And we're not going to be able to solve it overnight. It's going to be a hard, tough road to hoe for our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren and the posterity of this nation. We have to start from the grassroots. We have to go after the things that have caused, we eliminate the problems that has caused this infectious disease that is plaguing our nation. Yeah. And that said, I'm off my political.
All right, Lisa, since you're running for office, tell us exactly if you have a website or how people can contact you to help you or contribute.
At this point in time, I haven't put together a website for my campaign, but if you feel like donating, please go to my Mountain Minutemen website, and the PayPal account is there on the flash button, and I'll declare these as campaign contributions, and at this point in time, I'll use that money to build a website. And I'm not a rich guy, Luca, just like everybody else. We're just struggling to make it through survival in our society. We live in a free country if you can afford it. I hate to say that, but that's a harsh reality. We live in a free country if you can afford it.
Or if you're Hillary Clinton, you're going to run free no matter what crimes you do. That's the bottom line. Justice doesn't exist anymore.
That's that big dirty money.
Exactly. Listen, I want to thank you and really appreciate your input. As you say, you first of all, a little older than I am. You could be, after all, my, let's say, I don't say father, but let's put it this way. You are a guy that has been around before me. And also, you have an interesting experience. As I said, I like to get people here. Whoever wants to be on the show has something to add. I'm more than welcome. And if you disagree with me, that's even better. The point, I want just to have a real, I don't have an agenda here. Seriously, I don't want to be right. I want just to say, listen, guys, we are all under threat. This is not about anymore left or right. This is about we American people. Are we going to live as a free Americans, or are we going to live as slaves? Because even if you don't like, let's say, I don't know, what happens with this, we have difference in political ideas. Still, you want to be free to exercise your rights. You do not want to have an authoritarian government. At that point, they will treat you like you're living under Stasi in East Germany, because that's where we're heading to, among the many other things. So that's the bottom line. So I invite also people from the left, if they want to call left. I am no right, I'm no left. I'm here for freedom.
Your platform is what I love, is an open dialogue, and I love that. Okay, just to throw this out there, my website is www.mountainminutemen.com.
Perfect.
Mountainminutemen.com, and I have a PayPal account set up. If there are anybody in your listeners support ID to vote, the death of DACA, and the stopping of sanctuary processes in America, please contribute to my campaign. I will be running for legislature, the Assembly in District 35 here in Clark County, or the state of Nevada, in the 2018 election cycle. The 2018 election cycle is going to be a bloodbath.
Wow.
And it's going to be a war between the Republicans and the Democrats. And my theory and my projection is the streets of Clark County were going to flow with blue Democratic blood. I believe that there's awakening going on in Las Vegas and Clark County and the state of Nevada, and we're going to drive these Democrats out of the state. And this Californication that's been going on over the past decades, and the illegal immigration vote, and the power of the culinary union, the Teamsters, and the illegal and the forces that have been persuading our political agenda in this state are going to be squashed in this coming election cycle. Like I said earlier, and I say again, the power of the people is in the vote.
All right, listen.
And we have to preserve that power.
Very good. Listen, thank you very much, and let me just close this hour.
God bless you, Luke.
Thank you, Robert. Stay in touch. Stay in touch. Okay, do not go away, guys. This is almost the end of the first hour. As I said, I wish I didn't have to talk about this. I wish we had other things we can focus on. But why I think this is so important, not because we need to be sensationalist or we try to find, things that maybe they create some sort of debate. No. This is because if we do not understand the truth, if we'll believe the same lies we've been fed over and over, at least the last, let's say, I don't know, this is not just 9/11, way before. If we do not want to face the truth, we will believe the lies that will pretty much become the chain around our neck. That's why the only way we can peacefully stop this sort of events, that we will show them that we do not believe anymore the false narrative. We do not believe anymore their lies. That honestly, my friend, here just said that, Robert just said this is out of a Hollywood movie. I would say a B Hollywood movie, a cheap Hollywood movie. It is not even that good of a Hollywood movie. But as I said, please use your brain. You don't need to listen to me or Robert Crooks. You are now, if you still have access to the internet, there are still out there enough videos and things that you can see and audio that you can listen that is being not edited is there. And you will see when you listen to this audio from the police report that they say there are multiple shooters, and you can see the flash and the firing part from, and by the way, the eyewitness, I didn't tell you guys, there is also a man from Australia, he's on video. It was also on the Australian media. That is say, he wasn't, there were other people shooting there, and they see him. He saw him. I mean, that's so much. We could talk for hours just about that. All I say, do not just believe in everything they tell you. And more important, at that point, when they start to offer you the solution, the easy solution, like, for example, now the first thing they want to do, yes, they want to do banning the bump fire. That's a joke. You may not even know what is a bump fire, but the point is they will start with the bump fire, and then they will ban also probably your slingshot. You watch it. That's the point. So it's not about guns. This is about freedom. And, of course, the rest of the story. Now, I want to tell you something. I can do this type of, let's say, shows that we can talk pretty much about whatever we think we want to say, because it's called freedom of speech. And I want to say, of course, thanks to KTOX. This is a very unusual radio station, I must tell you. And also I want to say thank you for your help. I can go out really and start to ask for sponsors when I talk about these things. So I need your help. If you want to support this show, go please to www.zanna.us. You can see I do different things for a living. I do not ask a paycheck from anybody. I work for myself. And one of the things I do, I write music and songs. And you can download any of my songs also on Amazon or at zanna.us for just 99 cents. Just 99 cents. It will keep the show free, and we will use this show as the best weapon against the lies of the globalists and the New World Order. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom, ready for our number 2. Do not go away.
He's a songwriter, a poet, a rifleman,
I'm not afraid,
and a constitutional activist.
I'm not afraid,
Italian by birth,
I'm not afraid,
American by choice. Luca-Zanna.
I'm not afraid.
And his new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom. 16 powerful songs on one CD from the heart of a patriot. For download or to order the CD, go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com. That's www.lovegunsfreedom.com. Lyrics for your mind, music for your heart. Luca-Zanna's new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom.
You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca-Zanna on United States.FM network. Time. Get your Arizona Concealed Carry Permit now with Arizona Concealed Carry Permit by Zanna Enterprises, LLC. Become a more responsible and educated gun owner. Carry legally concealed in 35 states. Carry permitted in restaurants where alcohol is served. Learn where and how you can legally carry a firearm in Arizona. Learn where you can use deadly force. When can you display your gun or not for self-defense? Learn how to deal with law enforcement while carrying a firearm. Learn how to be aware of your surroundings and how to avoid a confrontation. Buy your gun without waiting for a background check. Get your Arizona Concealed Carry Permit now. Go to www.azccw.us. Go to www.azccw.us. Free for single mothers and people with disabilities. Here we go, guys and girls. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca-Zanna on KTOX 1340 AM and also 104.1 FM. As you can hear from the audio, I am not in the studio, but I am here in Havasu City, exactly at Against All Enemies. This is the second hour and the hour about guns. we talk about it during the first hour, what happened in Las Vegas, or at least we try to figure it out what really happened. And of course, the debate also is about gun rights. Now, before we go into details, I do not negotiate my rights. At the end of the day, I do not believe in collective sense of guilt. Like, yesterday, many people, were driving, for example, last night, drunk and driving and killed somebody. I'm sure probably a few hundreds. Does it mean that the rest of us, we have no more the right to drink a beer or maybe drive a car? No, that's not the way it should be. So the point is, I'm not even going to debate whatever happened that means it's going to compromise our rights. But I'm trying to analyze a little bit exactly the lies that the media, they've been saying to us. More important, the discrepancies that we know we can see. Without even being there, we have enough video out there that we can at least have a chance through witnesses, and the sound, even just the sound that came out of the recording of different sources, that something probably it is not right. Now, according to the latest news, this alleged shooter, I believe there is more than one, but that's my personal opinion, supposedly used this sort of a technology called bump fire stock. That is something very affordable. You can buy for $150. And what it does really, you know what? I'm going to ask my friend Patrick exactly what he does. And by the way, he's the owner of Against All Enemies shop here in Havasu City. Hi, Patrick.
Hey, Luca. How's it going?
Good. Before you start, that's why I wanted you here, because you're not just a regular guy. You are also a gun manufacturer with a special license to make machine gun. Am I right?
Absolutely, yes.
Very good. And also you have a military background that you were using real assault rifles with selective fire. Am I right or wrong when you're in the Marines?
3-round burst, select fire, yes.
Yeah, so that's the definition of, and let's try to educate people, because sometimes I understand, the media, they try to play us stupid, but education, it's an opportunity that we give to everybody. First of all, AR-15 doesn't mean assault rifle, it doesn't mean automatic rifle, am I right? What does it mean?
So AR actually stands for Armalite Rifle, which is the manufacturing company who essentially started mass producing this style of firearm.
Exactly. So that's number one thing. And number two, these, let's say, semi-automatic rifle that we're talking about, the difference between a semi-automatic rifle, like, let's say, an AR-15 for civilians, and the military version, like what you have with the select fire, you need to squeeze the trigger every time you want to have a bullet expelled from the barrel. Am I right?
Right. So, real quickly, the difference of the definitions is quite simple. Single shot is you pull the trigger once, it expels the ammunition, and then you have to reload it. Mm-hmm. A semi-automatic is you pull the trigger, and every time you pull the trigger, you only get one round firing. However, normally attached to a semi-auto is some sort of device, in particular a magazine, that holds multiple rounds of ammunition. A fully automatic weapon, for every trigger pull, it just keeps expending ammunition until you let off the trigger or until you run dry on ammunition. Very good.
And now exactly, I was asking you, what is exactly this sort of a bump fire stock technology? Because that's pretty much now what is under scrutiny here.
So basically, a bump fire stock is it's a stock system that gets put on an AR aftermarket. I've never seen any companies just selling them, as far as their production rifles with bump fires on. So it's definitely a modification piece that the consumer can buy, and they can modify their AR-15 and put the bump fire. And what the bump fire does is it doesn't retain the rigidity that a normal stock does. So every time the gun actually recoils from the natural recoil, it basically, the stock moves and it allows your trigger to reset. So the trigger's resetting, and it's only one round per trigger pull. However, since the gun's bouncing back and forth and bouncing essentially off your trigger finger, it keeps firing.
Exactly. And, I have a couple myself, and honestly, I just use them for fun. I would never put my life in this in this technology because it's not reliable, and more important, it is not accurate. Yes, you can practice a lot, you can get, but the idea is still is something that I wouldn't rely to defend my life. Now, the question is this, because you're also a guy, as I said, beside making machine guns, you shoot them. I watch your videos, and you've been shooting anyway when you were in the service. Now, according to your personal opinion, this is all we can do now, personal opinions, of course, your experience. I'm sure you heard some of the audio from this alleged shooter. Did you?
Yes, I've heard quite a few different, posts and examples of different video scenes with audio in it, absolutely.
Do you think this person was shooting a bump fire stock, or was using a full automatic machine guns?
Based on what I've heard, it sounds more consistent with a fully automatic weapon, and there's a couple reasons why I say that. One, like you said, you own a bump fire, and even being the owner of a bump fire, which apparently the quote-unquote suspect was not really a gun enthusiast, anybody who buys or purchases a bump fire and after you get it installed, it's going to definitely take some range time to get used to that new weapon system. And then the other second point is the consistency and the rate of fire and the length of rate of fire that you can hear in most of the audio tapes. It doesn't match with what I've seen go on from even salesmen of bump fire stock that they record themselves.
Yeah.
This guy was more consistent than anybody I've ever heard shooting a bump fire.
Yeah, and this is exactly what I think. And also, the accuracy. I understand supposedly we're shooting from the 33rd floor or whatever, and this is exactly my point. I mean, that type. First of all, I don't believe that he was shooting from such floor, because I really believe, according to visual video that they were out there, and sometimes got removed, they were probably about between, I don't know, 5th or the 4th floor, right, much lower. But the point is, how can you control such a system that is very hard to control anyway without training, especially keep it on target? Even, of course, it was a big group of people. Still, I really find completely unbelievable the fact that it would be effective, especially from the distance. I mean, you know very well that normally the most effective fire is a semi-automatic fire. You can have fast shooting, but still, normally when you want to be accurate, you cannot just, blast it. And the fact that it was hitting so many people, even if they were all spread out there, I don't believe for a moment that there was a bump fire technology to keep that type of volume and accuracy. What do you think?
I think based on, how it all works, and given his reported distance from the actual concert, and knowing what the supposed 5.56 or 2.23, which we see plenty of images showing those magazines, I do think it is a great possibility that from the 32nd floor to the 1,100 foot away concert, with that ammunition and a bump fire, that you could hit that many people. I honestly do believe that. What I don't believe is that he was using that, and I think that there's more to the story, and you can see it. I mean, I'm not making this up. Anybody can turn on any news station right now and see the big, huge push for gun control, and now it's all stemmed around bump fires, and every website that used to sell bump fires is now suddenly out of stock, or the web page won't even load. Yeah. I think they're just using bump fires to get that off the list next, because they already know that full autos are a ban. So what would the argument be if it was a full auto? It wouldn't make any sense. There would be no incentive to have that as your
exactly. Let's remind exactly for the people who maybe don't know, as a civilian, to own, let's say, a full automatic or selective fire gun that applies to the NFA, 1934, National Firearm Act of 1934, how difficult and expensive it is, because you as a gun manufacturer, that you have this special license, you can make your own gun for personal use, but as a civilian, somebody who has not a license, if you want to buy, how much money are we talking about for the average AR-15 or in this case M16?
So let's say someone has no licenses, no military background, no law enforcement affiliation, and they just have a lot of money and they'd like to buy themselves a full auto. Well, in certain states, you just can't do that no matter what the federal law is. But let's take Arizona for an example. Mm-hmm. In Arizona, if you buy a pre-banned firearm, a transferable fully automatic firearm, that means it had to have been manufactured prior to a certain date in 1986. And what that is basically when the NFA came about and the date that they designated to cut off of all manufacturing of fully automatic weapons. So for, let's say, an M16, I want to say that the going price for those is around $25,000 to $30,000. Wow. So not your average Joe walks into my gun shop saying, hey, do you have any transferable M16s? I have $25,000 in my pocket. That would obviously raise red flags to me, and I would probably notify somebody as soon as I did some investigation and talk to them for a little bit longer. So it's not impossible for the normal civilian to own it, but it's damn near impossible.
I mean, it takes also a lot of background checks. You need to have a special certification, a license from the ATF. I mean, it's a long process. Besides the little $200 stamps that, of course, years ago when the law was created, it was a big amount. Now, of course, it's not much, but it's not the typical gun that they say, oh, we don't have enough gun control. That's probably the example, the top gun control you can get, okay? Now, the point is, you as a person, and of course, there's still an investigation. We still don't know everything, and maybe we'll never know everything because so far we weren't there. But we have enough, thank God, to YouTube and also the video and the audio out there. We have some ideas that something you cannot deny. I mean, the eyes and the ears, we can use them. Of course, we wish to know more. For example, I have a question. How is possible that this guy was able to do what he did, even just carrying all these guns, supposedly, and build up this little nest in the middle of one of the most secure areas. Normally, everything has cameras in these grand hotels. So what do you think really happened in your mind? What do you think maybe somebody else was there beside him?
I definitely think that there was multiple people involved with this massacre. I don't think that there was a single shooter. I wouldn't believe that for a second. I mean, just the first time I heard the audio, it sounded like talking machine guns, meaning one guy in one window's firing, and as soon as his fire runs out or he needs to reload, the other one takes over. Mm-hmm. That's what it sounded like to me. It didn't sound like a 22 cal, so it didn't sound like 223 or 5.56. But then again, you can always throw different muzzle devices on the gun, and it changes the sound immensely depending on what caliber it is. To me, though, it did sound like a 30 caliber weapon, so let's say 7.60 by 51 or even 7.60 by 39. And then as far as the actual rate of fire, it did sound like a machine gun, and the length of everything that he was doing, it sounded like he did have some extended magazines. I don't know if I go with the belt-fed theory.
Yeah. For sure, something you're right. The sound, I don't know, maybe because there was the echo, maybe as you said, could be a device, some sort of a type of flash hider or type of, but the point is, it wasn't a 5.56 in my opinion. It was even the rate of fire wasn't as fast as you could see. It was lower, and it was between a 7.62 by 39, according to my ears, and maybe a 3.08. My question is, this is supposed to be easy to find out because all you have to look at the bodies. I mean, whoever got hit, you still have bullets inside those bodies. Right. So my point is, how can the media or even just in general, the authorities cannot say the truth about that, because it's something hard to if I was somebody, let's say I got shot, I want my bullet with me, okay? I would like to see it. So I still find that there are a lot of questions that have no answers, but for sure the answer we've been given, I don't like them. I don't think they belong to the realm of logic, I almost treat it like a bunch of kids here. And also another thing, you said, reloads. I almost felt like there was no stop. I mean, like this guy was a magician with the emergency reload. It was super fast, like a pro. And also I was thinking about, for a 60 or something years old man, supposedly with no military background and training, it's pretty demanding physically to keep shooting with no stop. I mean, I shoot like a magazine. If I shoot, I don't have the license, but if I go, somebody has a license and shoot a full auto, even just fast, rapid fire, I can feel, just to balance that type of recoil, it takes energy. How can you explain somebody doesn't look even that fit, and a little bit a senior, if you want to put it, he was able to shoot like what, for 8 minutes, no stop, pretty much?
Right, yeah, something like that, and I agree with you. And I have seen more videotapes since then that kind of help support my theory as far as the length of fire. It does sound like in some videos that I've seen that he definitely is given enough time to reload, even at a beginner's pace. Uh-huh. But then there's other times where he stops fire and then fires immediately. So I think he's just letting off the trigger or whatever's going on. It's not necessarily a reload moment. Mm-hmm. The one thing that does concern me is the speculations and the disparity of the reports saying. The first thing I heard was there was 10 guns, and that blew my mind. I mean, 10 guns? This guy has 10 guns? I mean, I've heard 17 guns, 23 guns, and I've heard 27 guns from different reports. So we really need to nail that down. I mean, how did that get screwed up when they busted in the room and they count the firearms that he had? I mean, it's one room from what we're told. So why is there multiple different numbers being reported of guns? So the one that seems consistent now is 23 firearms. And going back to your question is, how did such a secure building, a freaking Las Vegas casino for crying out loud, allow somebody to walk into this room with 23 firearms? Well, you got to realize an AR-15, if that's what was used, can easily be broken down into two pieces. So you can fit quite a few of those firearms into what you would call a standard suitcase. I just don't understand the logic of having 23 firearms with you, knowing that these will probably be your last moments. I don't get what the whole setup was.
Yeah, honestly, you have just 2 arms technically, and 2 hands. I mean, let's say you want to have a backup gun in case one get overheated, but 23 really is make out of no logic, in my opinion, too. Well, at this point, I hope we can have a real investigation. We can start to see, because there's things that I don't want to just say, okay, just because we've been told by the media, well, that's the official version, and no, because it's an insult to logic, many things. But I know for sure something's real. They're already after us. They're already after, try to blame on, let's say, worst case scenario, it really was one crazy guy, was using guns. At that point, it's really sad to see that the same cliche repeats every time, and now they're trying to blame the rest of the population, law-abiding people, that they need to deny our rights just because maybe one person out of, a million, may commit a crime. So that's going to be, unfortunately, the same cui bonus. What is for them, they're going to use this. Do you see any change the last few days since this happened, even at your shop?
Just a few minor things. I've been getting a lot of correspondence, whether it's through text or email or even through my website, about what our stock looks like for bump stocks. And of course, there's a lot of gibberish about gun prices going up and gun laws getting passed. But there's 3 things that, after watching what happened in Vegas, that I know. One thing is that the AR-15 platform rifle will once again, and even more so, be under attack. Another thing is that the bump fire stock and any other device that is put into these firearms, whether it be a binary trigger or a super semi-automatic trigger or anything that increases the rate of fire and keeping it within the legal boundaries and not actually deeming it a fully automatic weapon, those will also be under attack. And one other thing is, based on how the supposed crime scene was staged, is that they're going to go after multiple owners or multiple gun owners, people who are out there that buy guns to just have one of every caliber. They're going to start targeting those and basically demonizing people who own several or more than 8 or whatever their threshold is of firearms. You can guarantee on those 3 things.
And another thing said, and then we can close. I saw just a headline on Yahoo News. President Trump say, gun control. We will talk later. So, doesn't mean that he's going to do it, but sometimes, I'm always a little leery when we will talk about something, means that, they're going to have a conversation. And as I said, in the past videos of President Trump, when he was not the president 20 years ago, there are a couple of videos that you can find out pretty easy out there that he was completely for the opportunity to have gun control. So now, supposedly, the last few years changed his mind. I hope so. But I hope that we don't have another disappointment, even when it comes down to, our president to change and to be part of this agenda. What do you think? What do your guts tell you?
I agree with you as far as what you hope for. I don't know. I don't weigh it too much. President Trump says we'll talk about it later. I think that's his way of telling everybody else now is not the time to start throwing out bills and legislation. We will deal with it later. That doesn't mean that we're going to start putting laws in place that are going to limit the citizens who are law-abiding. That simply means we're not talking about it right now. Right now is for mourning, and I think he does understand that a lot better than some of these other politicians with an extreme agenda.
Oh, yeah.
He's all about what's common sense, and right now it's not time to start talking about what we can do as far as our gun laws.
Exactly. Let's first of all understand what really happened. Lisa, talking about gun training, just to change topic briefly. I know that at the end of the month we're going to do something together, nice, at a beautiful event in Havasu. Remind everybody what's going to happen October the 28th and the 29th, please.
Absolutely. Yeah, I want to remind everybody real quickly that we will be down at the Lake Havasu City Gun Show, and like Luca just said, that'll be October 28th. And 29th, and on the 28th, we'll be giving the AZCCW, the Arizona Concealed Carry Weapons Permit class, and that'll be from 10 to 4 p.m. It's a 7-hour class, and that's $85 a head. It's $65, so you get a $20 discount if you bring a friend, and that's also available to be free for single mothers, and we do have limited seats for that, so just go ahead and call us. Some other ways you can contact us would be calling us at 928-444-5778. Visit our website at www.aaeamerica.com, or come by the shop here in Lake Havasu City. It's at 2152 McCulloch Boulevard North, Suite B. and that's in Lake Havasu City. We are open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and that's all on Saturday the 28th. And once again, on Sunday the 29th, we'll be giving the 3-hour free gun safety class, and of course that's free for anybody and everybody. Of course, seats for that will be limited. So again, get in contact with us and give us your name and info, and we will get you signed up.
Perfect. It's always a pleasure talking to you, learning from you, and also, to be your friend. Thank you, Padre. Appreciate it. Thank you, man. All right, guys, little break. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom. Back to the studio in a few minutes. And please don't forget, seriously, I really believe that if you're a good person and you have no agenda, sometimes all you need is some education to know the facts. Like we were talking, AR. Next time a media going to tell you, oh, these are automatic rifle. Wait a second. Let's be honest here. If you don't know something, we'll tell you. But if you are, some sort of a person with an agenda, at that point, that's different. But we are here to try to educate each other. Do not go away. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna.
Awaken the warrior in you with Scotty, the new AR-15 rifle by Zanna Enterprises, LLC. I am Scotty, Norse goddess of winter, hunting, and just revenge. I am Scotty. I am Scotty. I am Scotty. I am chambered in 223 Wild and can shoot 556 NATO and 223 Remington. My trigger is crisp and fast. An average of 4 pounds out of the box. Call me a fast girl. I can shoot over 5 rounds in 1 second. But I'm focused too. With only iron sights and no bench, I can hit 1 square inch at 25 yards. I am Scotty. I am Scotty. I am Scotty. I bow down to no one. I am independent. I am fierce. I am a warrior. My Viking spirit has been reborn in a fabulous new body, all made in the USA. I am Scotty. I am Scotty. I am Scotty. I can withstand a loaded Humvee running over me and still look pretty. I am Scotty. Find me at www.ar15shop.us. I am Scotty. 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 Find me at www.ar15shop.us. I am Scotty.
Here we go, guys and girls. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna. This is the second hour, the hour about guns. I always like to meet in person people who normally may listen to the show. I mean, if I had a chance and the time, I would like to meet you all. Yeah, sometimes, of course, it's pretty impossible. First of all, thanks to the internet, now this show is a little bit everywhere. I have people in England, Europe, Germany, Sweden. That's great. And all over the U.S. I'm very proud of you guys for your support. I'm humble about that. I do not deserve even that, but I'm very humble and thankful. At the same time, when I have a chance, especially when it's a local listener, not too far, that also has been one of my Arizona CCW students, I like really to meet you guys. And when I have an opportunity, why not? It would be great. So anyway, just a few days ago, I went down to Havasu to do some business, and I will tell you more about the business I did at the end of the hour. And I finally met again the gentleman who also realized that he took one of my Arizona CCW classes at Against All Enemies just a few weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago. So anyway, his name is Steve from Havasu, and I have an interesting conversation with him and different questions I would like to ask. Maybe you have some questions for me. Steve, are you there?
I'm here.
Very good. Nice to meet you again. And finally, we had a chance to talk for a few minutes. At least, I was having my little break meal at Chipotle before I was going to prepare for dinner. And we had time to spend some time together. So it was very nice. I appreciate that.
No, it was very nice to meet you. Yeah,
so
very nice.
So tell me,
you're a very interesting person. Let me put it that way.
Well,
I've never seen a man so full of energy in life. I wish I had that horsepower, but not anymore. I got old, so whatever you do, don't ever get old.
At least first of all, good for you. You made it to be old. Many people are not that lucky. Okay, sometimes people.
Right.
So you got it. And honestly, you look great too. I don't know your age, but you look very vital. And now,
66.
And you are a lot of interested, and you don't look like somebody watching TV all day home, and just waiting for the.
No,
end.
that's one thing I don't. I'm not a TV. I'm not a TV hound. I'm out. I always joke around. I'm always shining the lawn furniture, or I'm out grinding on something, or always busy. But TV, no, I'm not a. What do you call a couch potato? I'm not a couch potato. No.
And then also, I know you drink Zanna coffee, so that's my secret. Now you know that, okay? That's why I'm full of energy.
Oh, heck yeah.
I drink about 6-7 Zanna coffee a day, so I'm always hyper caffeinated. Anyway, Lisa, I want to say, first of all, I was curious because, I always like to ask feedback after, especially when I feel, I have my students that for me become almost a personal things, when I have the opportunity
right.
and there really is an opportunity, a privilege to teach you even just the basic foundations, like in Arizona concealed carry permit class. I take that very seriously, as you know. And then when I see you that you start, your next stage, for example, I'm happy when of course, you get your CCW, but more important when you start to implement and apply the things that we've been talking and hopefully go to the next level also in the practical part of shooting. Yeah. So tell me,
like the stance, I've been shooting since I was 7 years old, and then you taught me about how you do the stance, your approach, your position, and how you talk, and then you don't put your finger on the trigger. You point, you do the alarm, the warning, stay back, and then make a lot of noise, attract attention, so you want witnesses if it gets to that point. So learn stuff like that.
We talk about several things, of course, in a few hours, even of course there are many hours compared to other classes. Is still, all I'm trying to do is give you at least the foundation to know the things that you should, let's say, in the future also improve and learn more, because, technically the Arizona concealed carry, let's say, request from the state, it is not about how to shoot a gun. Technically, there is not even anymore a mandatory shooting test.
How you handle yourself. Yeah,
exactly.
That's how you say always avoid the situation, but if it gets down, gets down and dirty, then it's down and dirty, but you always avoid the conflict situation.
Also to know at least the laws, to know, what to do, what not to do. And then, of course, hopefully to try to start to implement all these different things when it comes down to marksmanship and different things about safety.
You covered in your class.
So honestly, I want to say, not because, you know me, all the things, just honestly as a student, and if you say something that I don't like, that's fine. I don't care. We didn't prepare.
Right.
We did not prepare this conversation. What is your honest feedback about my Arizona concealed carry permit class that I offer? I want to know your opinion, especially compared to others.
You covered like A to Z. You went through all the laws, and you covered all the handguns. You covered the rifles, the shotgun. You went in even with the knife, the knife defense thing. How you handle yourself, and how to look. Like you say, scope. Because me, I go out to dinner, whatever. I'm always scoping, looking for stuff that you don't want to happen, but you never know. These days, it's a crazy world out there these days.
Yeah.
As I said in your class, you taught you covered all the bases, big time. I said I've gone to gun safety things over the years, and I used to belong out to the DTA, and I used to shoot the traffic. I belonged to that cowboy shooting thing once upon a time. That was okay, but they come out with all the rules. You don't do this, you don't do that. I said okay. We quit. I quit. We don't want to play anymore.
So, question: if you have to, let's say, one thing that at the end of the class, it really got your attention more than others. There are so many topics, as you know, and sometimes, as even I give you a PDF files of the whole curriculum, so much you can retain and so much you will not retain. You need to go back to study it again.
Right.
With one thing that really say, wow, this is something that at least I can start to apply immediately, and it's going to be really like almost, I don't know, life-changing situation, like a mind-opening situation. What is the topic or the things that we try to teach you that it was really for you like, wow, it gave you the light bulb?
How you handle, how you handle yourself. You taught me how you handle yourself. I mean, I've been in the hunting thing for my whole life, but, and then did the military thing. That was a short bit. And then after that, I tried to get in, I had me and my buddy, we tried to get into the reserve in LA, the LAPD, but we were called too aggressive. So they sent us home, says, we'll call you, don't call us, right? I understand.
As I said, during the class, the first thing I start when we started the class, we do not use the word killing. We use, first of all, in our hands, a law-abiding citizen, a gun, a firearm in general. It doesn't kill. It saves life. And more important, we stop threats. We stop threats. And it started from our mindset, like our language. I never even for joke, I hate when people for joke says, oh, do that, or call me, or I'm going to kill you. Don't do that. Don't say that. This is
no. I mean, it's presentation. It's your presentation. Is what it is.
A mindset. As exact mindset.
Yeah,
also, at the end of the day, as
I mean,
said,
I got some like, they have like the pistol or whatever on, or they got something concealed, and then waving around. I said, no, you cannot do that. That's you advertise. That's a no. That's the common sense. The common sense just went out the door. So,
and also
you try to educate them.
And also remember common sense. And also this is something that, we have very specific laws. You do not touch the gun. And really there is a reason that can be justified in front of a court of law, because, you cannot wave a gun like you're waving, a dozen of roses. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
You're out of control. If you're armed, you're the one that's out of control. So you're actually the threat. So the law is going to come back, and they're going to come down on you, big time and heavy. So.
And justly, you got really to organize, to think that you have great responsibility with the guns. With freedom comes great responsibility. You better know exactly every law, and you behave better than the average person. That's pretty much the story. But also, at the end of the day, another important thing, as I said, the gun, the firearm, is the tool of last resort. There are so many things we can do before even we have to think to use the gun. First of all, we want to avoid the confrontation in every way we can. Sometimes people say, you don't have to run. Guess what? I'd rather to avoid the confrontation when I know I am armed. There is no reason to make a point. There is no reason to try to act like Rambo. We have a great responsibility. Somebody's an idiot. Let them look like an idiot. We don't need to create ourselves in a deeper and more dangerous situation.
Stay calm. Yeah, don't come off screaming and yelling like a nut. Stay calm. Take aware of the situation. And you pick. It's to say, pick your spot or pick your target. But always, I say, avoid conversation. Just if you don't handle that way, and then get out of that. Get out of that situation. But,
exactly. You have any question for me? Because sometimes I always talk, and I like more important from you guys, listeners, that if you have any question about the show, about the topic we're talking about, for example, today the focus is being during the first hour a lot of information about the things that the mainstream media they're not been talking about, especially when it comes down to this.
Yeah, big time. I see that so muld, and then all the, and then they just come back, because it's all mindset control, what they want to tell you and feed you.
Yeah.
They don't show you the other side. And it is all through your media, that's your newspaper. And now it comes, all through your iPads and off the information highway thing, I call it. But I said, it's like your views and the information you put out and what I read over all the ABCs, the news, stations, one will have a certain way and the other station will have it a certain way. And it's
any question do you have? Any question do you have about guns or about classes and about anything? By the way, I want to just remind everybody, I talked with during the first segment of the second hour with my friend Patrick, the owner of Against All Enemies. At the end of this month, the Saturday the 28th and the 29th, we have the 28th. We have an Arizona concealed carry permit class at the Havasu Gun Show. And then, of course, Sunday we have a free gun safety class sponsored by Against All Enemies always at the Havasu Gun Show. So in case anybody has friends,
I know,
or
I
family,
gotta miss.
That would be.
I'm gonna be out of town. I wanted to go. I missed last year's, and then this year's same thing. We call it a fishing trip out of town. So I got a buddy that lives in LA. He's coming out, so that weekend I won't be able to make it. I'll get there one of these years. I'll get there.
Okay. Anyway, I want to give you the floor. Any questions you have? Anything you want to say? You got the floor. No.
You cover all the bases, and I said I like your way you think, because I think along the same lines, and I said you're the same group. I call it the same group. So the mindset, the same mindset. So
and I also say sometimes I have
very thorough.
Steve, sometimes also I have a lot of friends that we don't need to agree on everything, but the bottom line, we respect each other, and at the end we believe in freedom, and the freedom starts that you allow other people to do everything they want to do until they infringe on your rights. That for me the basic
right, exactly.
idea.
You see that so much these days. The control. They want to do that. They want to do that control.
So
I always joke around. They want to make you a sheep or a cow, or whatever, but they want to do the mind control. Like, you do it, you can't do this, you can't do that, but you're like a free spirit, and you do. I mean, within moderation, you do what you want to do, as long as it's lawful, it's safe, and then that's the way it goes. That's the way it is.
Perfect. Listen, I want to just let you know, thank you, by the way, for the support of the show. I know that you get Zanna coffee, and I appreciate that. Okay, thank you.
Oh yeah. The wife loves it. She loves it because that's her favorite new best coffee. She loves it.
That's good. Listen, I want to say thank you very much and for listening, and I'll see you probably soon in Havasu next time I come around. Okay?
Yeah. We'll hook up again. Yeah, I can get together, do a dinner or something. And
all right.
A barbecue for you. And then show the appreciation. So
all right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for you and your lady. Okay. This is luca-zanna, a little break. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom, and we go back now into the second hour, more about guns and also some very disturbing information about what's coming. Do not go away.
Hey, you. Yes, I'm talking to you. You deserve a break. Enjoy a moment of indulgence. It's time for Zanna Coffee. Guilt-free pleasure. Zanna Coffee is the organic coffee to amplify your senses and enhance love for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Only the best organic and GMO-free coffee beans from around the world that I selected. Zanna Coffee brings you happiness in every cup. Fair trade certified, sustainable organic coffee. That means we do not use slaves. Free Zanna songs with every coffee bag. Find Zanna Coffee at www.zannacoffee.com. www.zannacoffee.com. Get your coffee bag now. Don't be cheap. Life is too short, and you deserve the best. Zanna Coffee.
Here we go, guys and girls. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom. Back to the studio. This is the second hour, the hour about guns. We look at Zanna. Now, as you heard, this hour, normally I like to talk about training, guns as rights. And I really feel sorry when I need to somehow really be vocal about betrayal and, more important, conspiracy theories. Because this is not a conspiracy. The conspiracy is against us, we the American people. They try to conspire to destroy what is left of our Bill of Rights. And, of course, the right that they are most afraid, the elitist, the elites, they want to call this, let's say, dark government, really who are the controllers. They use the government to enslave us. The global elite around the world, they control governments through the Federal Reserve banks. They are privates. And more important, through the connections that they have. And the final goal is to enslave humanity. The rest of humanity is pretty much enslaved. Look at Europe. You don't even have any more freedom of speech. And for God's sake, not even mention the Second Amendment. This country, believe it or not, is the last country in the world that in every human being supposed to have basic, unalienable rights. These rights, they're not created because there is the Bill of Rights. These rights comes with us as human beings the moment that we were born. What the Bill of Rights does just reminds the government these rights are here. So the bottom line is they need to destroy these rights. How they do it? They do it with fear. They do it with deception. They do also what is called in the military operations false flags. And if you do not what means, go find out. Go Google it. Okay? That's the reality. Now, we are fighting not just against the enemy, but unfortunately we have enemies behind us. And let me spell it out. The NRA, National Rifle Association, okay? 10 years ago, I was almost finishing to pay my fees to become NRA Life member. And I told them, you know, when I found out the website did not speak just English, but they were pandering to another language, in the case it was Spanish. And I have not a problem with if you are from Spain or from Mexico. I have friends that they are from Mars. I don't care. All I care that you are not a jerk, okay? But the point is, I find very disturbing when we have here immigrants coming from around the world, and you have to pander to just a specific group. So I told them, as an immigrant, as a naturalized American, I felt bad about it. Give me a justification. They say, you know, if you don't like it, take a hike. They wrote me a letter. I still have the letter. And so I left for many years. Then I came back last year because I found, you know, somehow that their training that they offer, I became NRA certified instructor in shotgun, rifle, handgun, self-defense inside the house, self-defense outside the house. I'm a chief range safety officer. And so many other things. So I thought, you know, their training after all has a purpose. Maybe after all, you know, okay, give them a break. Let's try to see what they can do now. After all, now we have Trump in Congress, Republicans, such a joke. And bottom line, maybe we have some new legislation they can push. And of course, now look what happened. They're just selling us out down the river, like they done also in the past. You know, after all, they supported all the biggest pieces of legislation when it comes down to the National Firearm Act, you know, and the ATF and all this stuff. And as I tell you something, as a gun manufacturer, I know I should even mention the word ATF. Don't get me wrong. When I play with them, I play by the rules. Otherwise, I wouldn't play. At the same time, as my personal opinion, I believe the ATF is an unconstitutional agency. Our Bill of Rights does not require that type of regulations, but that's another story. Let me bring a friend of mine, a man that I really respect because he had the courage to leave his own country, like I did myself, to come here, start a new life, hopefully a better one. And now he's becoming an American. His name is Fabrizio Eltenda. He has a great YouTube channel. He loves guns. He loves the Second Amendment. And I really believe, I don't want to speak for him, he loves this country too. That's why he's becoming an American. Fabrizio, are you there?
Yeah. Hey, Gianluca, how you doing?
Hope I didn't freak you out with all my things. I remind to all the listeners, the government listeners, that I'm the only responsible for my own war. So my friend Fabrizio does not need to go to the FEMA camps in case you don't like what I say. Okay, Fabrizio, I'll give you the floor. First of all, what's going on with you? I know that you're becoming a citizen. You're going to take an oath next week. Am I right?
Yeah, it's actually in, what's the day today? It's in 10 days.
Beautiful. I still remember mine.
Awesome.
So are you pretty excited? I mean, what do you think about the process of becoming a naturalized American? Is something that it is something special for you or just a regular day? What do you think?
No. It means a lot. Are you kidding me? It's really important to me. It's the final chapter of a process that I've been through many years. I mean, and to me, it means a lot. I mean, I felt already an American between slashes for a couple of years, you know, and because I feel like I'm being helping out in some fields, you know, and I have several friends, American friends, of course, that keep telling me that sometimes I'm more American than some American that I know.
Yeah.
But which is a great compliment, you know, I think, and I earn the respect of Americans, which is important to me. And I've been here doing whatever else do legally, you know, paying taxes and, you know, and working and doing what else, you know, it's an important thing, you know.
Okay, let me corrupt you a little bit here. Did you ever watch the documentary American From Freedom to Fascism by Aaron Russo?
I did not.
Okay, as a new American, I beg you from myself to be an American to go on Google or go on YouTube to watch this short documentary, America From Freedom to Fascism by Aaron Russo. You mentioned the word paying taxes. And don't get me wrong, you know, I'm not telling you this is not the hour about taxes, but I tell you, this is something I really believe you should take a look. Because we have the obligation right now, in my opinion, when we become citizens, we take an oath to defend the Constitution and also this republic. And I believe when we've been told lies, it's our duty to at least learn the truth. And I'm not going to tell you the truth. I want you to find yourself. I just give you now this little bit of road, like the jackrabbit going down in the hole, find it. Please watch and let me know what you think, because you mentioned something about taxes. But now we won't talk about taxes. We will talk about guns. And I want your opinion about, first of all, what do you think really happened in Las Vegas? Do you think we should believe the government official version, or there is maybe something more? Like, for example, there was just one shooter, or there were more shooters? And the more important, what do you think? Your opinion.
It's kind of scary. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy guy all the time, but what I can say for sure, it's been kind of shady indeed. I mean, there's some point that they're not really clear. And from what I understand, this guy was planning to do the same thing in Chicago too, at the Shootapalooza, and somewhere else too, which was frightening. Although I don't think that's a one-man operation. I'm not saying there's a government behind it, but, still, I don't think it's something that can be done by one guy, It seems a little bit too well organized, too well planned, if you want to put it between slashes. Unfortunately well planned, by only one man, so I don't think it was that's my opinion, one-man operation. Just me, again, an expert in ballistic or forensic,
Wait a second. You're not an expert in ballistic, but guess what? First of all, you spent some time in the Italian army, something that at least you had, some sort of familiarity with weapons or wars, okay? You weren't shooting slingshots, okay? Number one. Number two, you have the passion and love for guns, the Second Amendment. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know that, we talk many times about you are the producer of the channel, Eltenda channel. So you go, did you ever fire, for example, one of these bump fire stocks? Did you ever fire them?
No, I think it's useless.
I understand. I understand they're pretty useless, but did you ever try it yourself? Did you shoot it?
No. I bump fire before, but without the stock. You can do the same without the stock.
Yeah, I mean, I have the stock, and I shot them, and you're right. It is something that is good for fun. Yes, the stock gives you a little bit more control than just bump firing from your hip. But the reality is that I would never put my life on one of these bump fire because they are really hard to control, hard to get really target, accurate, very little accurate. And more important, sometimes, all you do a little bit of wrong pressure with your hand, they're not going to be effective. Now, what do you think, according to your ears and to what we heard? We heard a lot of audio coming from let's say the alleged shooters or shooter, whatever you want to say. Do you think he was using, or they were using bump fire stocks, or they were using full automatic weapon? Just your opinion.
No, the cycle rate of the gun was let's put it this way, okay? First of all, even if you have a full auto gun, for my experience, you do burst anyway, because they are pretty much impossible to control, unless you got a bipod or some kind of device. Yeah. So you do normally do the burst, and you go back, and even machine guns, normally machine guns, in time of war, they were placed on the battlefield. They shoot little burst, and then they go back in position, original position, because they have to cover a field, two different field and zones, so all the battlefield is covered by only 4 machine guns. But anyway, that being said, I want, for experience, do also to a quantity of ammunition on the magazine. You don't go full auto anyway all the time, unless it's an emergency. You need to break an enemy advancing or something like that. Normally you do a little burst anyway. So my point, that being said, I think they were shooting that cycle rate I was hearing clearly was like a ta-ta-ta-ta-ta and then stopping. Like it was more like mechanical stuff.
Yeah.
If that being said, I'm pretty sure it was using a bump stock or some, at least a similar device, because of what you can hear, it was more like mechanical as is the bump fire, not mechanical as is a machine gun burst. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it was more like the sound is different. I heard a machine gun shooting before in the army, and there were German machine guns, but MG42s, and they make a clear, different sound when they stop shooting.
Another thing also makes no sense in my opinion. First of all, the sound of what we've been told. I mean, they said that it's an AR-15. Anybody who's not even need to be a professional army soldier or whatever, just somebody who shoots regularly, you can hear the sound of a 223 5.56, completely different high pitch, different also rate of fire, and then you can compare that with a 7.62 that could be 7.62 by 39 or even 308. You can see that for what my personal humble opinion, and also not just mine, but also, for example, I had just a few minutes ago, my friend Patrick, that is, Marine veteran, U.S. Marine veteran, they confirmed my theory that this was even a 5.56. This was a 7.62. What do you think?
Absolutely, but also, so the fact the guy was shooting, how far was like 400 yards, 500 yards, 600 yards, I don't know, I don't remember.
Yeah.
So even if you're shooting downhill, or whatever you want to call it, at an angle, pointing down, which, helps a little bit with the effectiveness of the weapon, but still that, even with that, I don't know anybody that can shoot at 6, especially in the dark.
Yeah.
There was a concert or whatever. Again, it was shooting in the middle of, a bunch of people, so it wasn't even probably aiming, it was pretty much spray and praying, whatever they want to call it, or just shooting in a bunch. Yeah. But I agree with you. I don't think there was a 5.56. In my head, a couple of different rifles with him just in case, but
a couple, not like 35 rifles or whatever to carry. I mean, that's insane.
You know what I mean? Among them, there might have been they even had a K-47, which they showed the picture was a 74, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, and what was impressive to me, and I understand the guy was in the hotel for several days, it's the quantity of ammunition and the gun that he blew upstairs. And then again, like I said, in a time of 10 days, Las Vegas, they're not really the top as far as security. I mean, looking at who enters, who goes out in the hotel, But still, they have security camera not for security reasons, but mostly for the people that wanna say English. They wanna steal in the casino or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they wanna. So that's the main reason why they got cameras, honestly. But.
Well,
and then, there's a bunch of other stuff. And again, I'm not a conspiracy in all these shooting things. I've always been kind of skeptic,
Well,
unfortunately,
we have just looking at facts. We don't need to be conspiracy. We're looking at facts. If we use our brain and we use our eyes and we use our ears, we know that whatever they're telling us does not make sense. The sky is supposed to be still blue. Yeah, right. But the point is, they're telling us the sky is pink and there is an elephant in the sky. Now, it's almost like who wrote that crap? Seriously. You tell me this older guy by himself is able, without any type of military training, 64 years old something, carry, 25, 30 guns into the room, build 2 nests, and out of the blue start to shoot like Rambo, okay, non-stop for 10 minutes, hitting, so many people. And then we have witnesses, of course, that they said there were more than one shooters. We're supposed not to talk about that. Otherwise, we are crazy. And so many other things. And, of course, we don't even have a video where we know that in Vegas, even when you go to the bathroom to take, a little lake, guess what? They're going to probably videotape you. So that's insane.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It was an amazing thing, and nobody noticed, and nothing that's suspicious, going on.
Yeah.
And apparently this guy was in trouble. For I understand, they said he gambled, he lost money, or something like that. No, wait. He sued the hotel for falling, presumably falling on the floor, and so they sued them. So you will think an hotel, they have face recognition and everything nowadays. Yeah. You will think they want to catch a guy like that. You know what I mean?
Yes. Listen, one wants to tell you something before you leave. Any questions about anything or something you want to say that I didn't ask you? Since we have 2 more minutes, I want to give you the floor. About citizenship, about guns, about politics. You have the floor. As a new American, go ahead.
I don't know. No, nothing. I was just saying, I encourage anybody who's been here legally for years to do the same thing. It's an important thing. We are at a crucial time. This country needs our vote. Of good Americans. It's an important thing. I don't care. Anybody says the vote is not important. I think it's still important. And you can put, or you can contact your representative and make make you hear your voice, like in gun matters or legal matters, especially in state that seems like they listen sometimes. But I ask anybody that wants to do it. It's a little bit expensive. It's painful as far paperwork and on process, but I think by the end of the day, it's really important. I mean, to me, it's priceless, and I say that again. I feel I'm humble and astonished and being part of this country,
Yeah.
And I've seen them people don't appreciate enough. To me, every time I go to Italy, it's one more time and I want to come back.
Trust me, I understand what you're saying. Speaking about Italy, we have only 1 minute left. Are you going to keep your Italian citizenship? What are you going to do?
Yeah, I have to family matters. I want to be able to go over there and spend more than 3 months with your visa because I have old parents. So if something happens, I want to be able to.
I understand. Try to bring them here. Try to bring them all here, man, because I'm trying with my mom as in America. It took me like almost 2 years, and I told her, better you go to Syria, get a burqa, and they're going to get you free pass with a free sandwich on the airplane. Listen, my friend, I want to give you a hug. I congratulate you for your efforts and to become now, part of this nation. And together, I really believe that's the beautiful thing about America. I don't care where you're from. All I care that, your allegiance is to our republic and to freedom, and we respect each other. We are really the melting pot that we're supposed to be, living the American dream. Thank you very much, Fabrizio. Okay, keep me posted.
Thank you for having me. You have a good day.
Don't go away. Stay there. 1 second. Let me finish this. Stay there. All right, guys. This is luca-zanna. As you heard me, I wanted to get different input from different type of people. What really is going on, or really what we think is going on in Las Vegas. And if you have something you disagree with me, say, Luca, you're a crazy guy. You're a conspiracy. That's fine. I want you on the show. This show doesn't shut you up. I'm not here to talk over you. I'll let you talk. You have something to say about me you don't like? That's fine. I still want you. Just be civil. After all, we are on the air. We are FCC rules. And if you want to say something about me that you think, just articulate. Make sense. Get some logic. Bring facts, and I respect you. Doesn't matter what you think about me or the show, all right? Now, ready for our number 3. I have an incredible lady from Germany. Unfortunately, this tyranny, it's all over the world. Do not go away. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna. Stay tuned. Ciao.
You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna on United States.FM network.
Are you ready to get lost in lust? Immerse yourself in a thunderstorm of emotions and passion. Order John luca-zanna's new book, Perfectly Crazy, 69 erotic visions and love poems with forbidden erotic Italian phrases. Perfectly Crazy by John luca-zanna. Available all over the world at Amazon.com and www.zanna.us.
Boys and girls, you're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna on KTOX 1340 AM and also 104.1 FM. This is the final hour, the hour about love. As you know, I really believe in the concept to be a nationalist. That means I believe in borders. I believe in sovereignty. I believe that I am not a global citizen. I am an American first and only, period. But I also believe that I look at humanity as brothers and sisters. When I see people from another country, Germany, Italy, I look at them as the same type of human beings that we are here in America struggling against this evil called global government. So I always, feel the compassion when I see people, especially who understand the type of gravity that we are facing. And, we're all struggling at different levels, but we're all struggling under the same threats. That's why I love this show because now it's way beyond just Mojave County, Arizona, or the tri-state area, Nevada, or whatever, or Bullet City, or Needles, California. This show through the internet, the last few years, has become more and more, I would say, an international show. And this is why it's so important, because at this point we start to understand what's happening right now here in America. It's happening at the same time all over the world. America is just the final country, the final, obstacle that the New World Order must completely destroy and on its ashes create the New World Order. That's a fact. Now, I have a lady that I already had a few weeks ago. She's from South Germany. And by the way, I like Germany. I never told you, but I really like Germany. I was born in Italy, but when it comes down to do business, I think I'm German. I like to get up 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like a soldier. I like to be perfect. When I do things, I like efficiency. I hate the Italian way. Even somehow, I'm in Italian too. Italian, they're lazy. That's true. I'm lazy a little bit too sometimes, but when I start working, I march like a soldier. I don't really, I want to give the best. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of great Italian workers. I think Italians, they're good for creativity. But I like about German people, they're very dedicated and very meticulous. And normally that's what the Germany used to be. When I went to Germany, especially before I left to America, 1998, there was still the sense of, pride. They do things, no matter what they do, even if they have to clean bathrooms, they do it with pride. The job is done right the first time. Unfortunately, things are changing. Germany is not the Germany anymore that used to be. Like Europe, every national country is changing because it's being destroyed by design. Unfortunately, by design, look at the Kalergi plan, the complete invasion and open borders policy to create a destruction of national sovereignty is in full action right now in Europe. That's why I like to have guests, like this lady, that her name, by the way, is Nati, that unfortunately, I wish we would share better news. I wish we could talk about recipes and kumbaya and maybe some serenades, but we have some serious news to share. What's happening right now into our country? Okay, let me bring this now. Nati from South Germany. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you very much for your invitation, Luca, and thank you also for the listeners who would like to learn English to a German citizen. Well, I'd like to say I fully agree with you that I love my country and I love all cultures, all languages. If you might hear, I like the American language as well, which already has put me under suspect. I would be a CIA agent. How funny, how ridiculous. I'm just a granny, 62 years old, and I used to study interpreter years ago, I guess about 40 years. Yeah, about 40 years ago. So nothing about that. It's ridiculous. I'm just a normal human being. And I fully agree with you, Luca, that we are humans. And I used to be very country loving. I mean, I used to love my country, but as far as the present situation is concerned, it looks a little bit different. The NGO is really proceeding, and we are under a very large, or how do I say, big change all over the world. That's my personal opinion. And as far as the refugees are concerned in Europe and in our country, I would like to, provided you allowed me, Luca, to talk a little about the refugee
Yes.
flooding with immigrants.
Yes,
here.
and I want to be sure I understand people out there. This is a luca-zanna talking with an accent, former immigrant, naturalized American, and legal immigrant. And I don't want to hear that crap. We are all immigrants. No, when you come here, I don't care which country. Europe, France, Italy, Germany, US, if you just trespass, if you jump the fence, you are not an immigrant. You are an illegal freaking alien. Also translated, you are somebody who's supposed to face the consequences of the law. You are here without this right paperwork. And why I'm saying that? Oh, we're just all human beings. Now what? Let me tell you something. I hate when these people try to brainwash the rest of the zombies out there. We're all legal humans. You know what? If you still believe that we have nations, as sovereign nations, you need to start to understand the concept of doors, windows, walls. That means translated in the concept of nations, there are gates and borders. Why am I saying that? Because there are probably about 7 billion people out there. 7 billion something, okay? Let's say everybody wants to come today to Germany. Hey, let's go everybody to Germany. How many billions can you handle? Are you kidding me? I mean, this is also a situation of national security and also of heritage, assimilation. You shouldn't become part of the country until you prove that you are somehow assimilated in the language and at least the basic customs. Yeah, you can still I still drink my Zanna coffee and I eat my pasta. I don't like burgers, but it doesn't matter. I am in America, period. And if I was moving to Germany, I would become a German, period. And I would learn the history and I would embrace the culture, or at least I would be able to be part of it. I don't need to start to segregate myself. That's the bottom line. So I want to be sure I understand people out there. This is not Mr. White supremacist KKK that he does not like immigrants. I was an immigrant myself. But let's start to mix up legal immigrants with illegal alien. That's the point. So now tell us. First of all, I listen to the news. Unfortunately, I read the news here. Every week, every other day, I find new violent crimes, especially against women, by this sort of refugees. I mean, the last one was, I don't know how many, 5 Afghans bastards. I call them bastards because if you rape a child or a minor, if you rape anybody, you're a bastard. I don't care. Especially when you rape a minor, you're a double bastard. They're supposed to be castrated, in my opinion. They rape a young girl. I mean, what's going on? Did you hear anything lately on your local news or on national news about these stories?
I'm sorry. I would like to say, Luca, that this is a problem of our politicians, first of all, because end of the New World Order, in my opinion. In 2010, EU representatives have been instructed, just imagine, to smuggle in 70,000 million immigrants into Europe. What does that mean? 3.5 million per year. So this opening we have had, according to Mrs. Merkel, we have to thank her in inverted commas. Well, because in my opinion, she hereby violated the law according Schengen Abkommen, which is paragraph 16a asylum law in Germany, in Europe. And there is a guy named, Professor Robert Crooks, and he confirmed Mrs. Merkel's law violation because she acted against the European law as far as the immigration is concerned, and there were about, I think, 1,000 files, charged files against Mrs. Merkel, but also Merkel's violation brought in front of the German Bundestag. Nobody cared about it. So that's also why I did not care about the election now, because as I mentioned before, if there is a sack of rice falling down in China, or Mrs. Merkel will be re-elected, which is the fact now, but this is another problem with the coalition and so on. But regarding the migration, Luca, in 2015, the Bundestag for Migration decided to let all Syrian refugees to come into our country without legal registration of these persons from abroad. So this is a vital violence against the valid asylum rights in our country. And in 2016, the Commission published a document in which not only is written about the refugees, but also about settlers. Luca, please imagine settlers and Neubürger. This is the so-called, some call them Nazis or whatever, new citizens. And this is classified in that document, but nobody in Germany cared about this. That a payment of, just listen, 10,000 will be paid by the EU households to whom it may concern. So to who, I wonder to whom is it paid? And some say, they assume that the local communities or the town halls and so on, that they maybe made some profit out of it. But just imagine, this is paid for them, and some of them are even not registered. I mean, their refugee file is not even finished. This is due to our government also. They have, I guess, the new citizens, as they are called, they have to wait sometimes more than 5 years, up to 5 years, and that's a lot. So also we have the aging problem. I mean, due to
Let me stop you 1 second only, Nathi, because you have a lot of information you're sharing. First of all, the reality is one. The governments, the European leaders, okay, they are pretty much, let's say, selected. They are not elected. They are selected by the globalists, by the bankers, okay, to implement the agenda of global government. And people maybe believe it or not, I don't care, but the facts are out there. For example, I want everybody right now, if they don't know about this, to get on your favorite search engine, whatever you like. If you want to go to the CIA 1984 style Google. Go there. That's fine. Bottom line, and they Google these words. Kalergi plan with a K. Kalergi plan. You will see, I don't need to spend more time. I've been talking about the Kalergi plan probably last year at least, a couple of years. You will see exactly what's happening to Germany. By the way, Mrs. Merkel, she was awarded the Kalergi Prize just a few years ago because she's following exactly the plan of the globalists. And what is exactly the Kalergi plan? The destruction of every sovereign nation to create a new government, a global government, a regional global government called the European government. That means it's already there, but also as a new race. And the new goal is to create what he called, I didn't call that, you didn't call that, he called it in his book, that, by the way, you can find in German on Amazon, so it's not a freaking conspiracy. It's exactly the mud race. Mud means, brown. So the idea is to destroy every national identity. I'm not here to tell you what to do in your sexual love life. You can have sex with, a monkey. If the monkey agrees with you, you can make children with a monkey. And I couldn't care less. Or a donkey, okay? I'm not here to say, oh my God, you don't need, it's your business. But I tell you, it's something when you do it because you love somebody and it's a natural, let's say, decision between two people, one man and woman to have your own love life, then I don't care. But when you have something that is being planned as a destruction of a national identity to destroy, that's a genocide. That's not about, being a racist or not. It's about genocide. Why they want a new race? Because they want a new race of slaves. That's the idea. That's the bottom line. And more important, they want to destroy your national sovereignty. They want to destroy also your heritage. I mean, I used to go to Germany when I was younger, before I left to America. I told you. And still Germany was under attack, but it wasn't right now like the last 20 years. If I want to go to Germany, I know in German, normally I expect German culture. And, if I want to go to, to the country of Mustafa, I go to freaking Turkey or whatever else. So I don't go to Turkey. I go to Germany. I used to like Germany because normally I see blonde ladies and I see good beers. And I can drink beer and talk to ladies without stress. Now, Germany is becoming, according to what I see, an occupied territory where people are living in fear, like many other parts of Europe. And you start to already have people who want to enforce Sharia laws. Like, for example, in Sweden. So that's exactly what they're trying to do, destroy your identity. Tell me something. Do you have any type of a Muslim or, let's say, Sharia laws proposal around your area, or at least in your region, where normally, enough of these people, they get together and say, you know what, we are not guests, we are now the boss. We want Sharia law. Anything going on like that in Germany?
Not that much. Then I heard in Sweden is extremely but I have to say that in my view, Mrs. Merkel, she has put herself over the law, so to speak, because she has prepared all this time with the new government. For example, she gave the promise, she has given the promise to 60,000 Syrians, refugees, all allowed to settle down at once. Just imagine, there are hundreds of students, of unemployed. Also, they would like social people, so to speak. They would like to have a flat, a home, an apartment. If I just give me 1 minute to explain my brother. I have a little handicapped brother. He's 4 years old. He's 66 now. He had been working like a dog in a candle factory for low salary, because they call him a little bit handicapped. He's not, he can play chess, but he's a little handicapped in his way. So, he's a German citizen. He's having his pension now, his renter, what is it called in America? The money you receive, your retired money, right?
Your retirement, your pension?
Your pension,
Yeah.
Exactly, thank you. And, he has not enough pension after 42 years of working like a dog, in order to have a little bit normal life still, in our country. So what does it mean? He has to go to the Amt, like this is an office where you have to beg like a beggar, and if he is coming saying, I cannot pay my rent, please, could I apply for $60 more or like that. So, but if the refugees come, Mrs. Merkel obviously is preferring them. I do not hate any people as long as they behave correctly, but as you pointed out also, the new refugees, they are given €1,000 mobiles, and with these mobiles they can do torture on German citizens. What is that? My brother, they caused an embolic disease, and I watched, I'm not against Arab people, but I watched Arabs dancing in front of his house, holding the new mobile up to him, and we all know there are little antennas and torture programs also to be found in the mobiles. And they caused him an embolic disease. How shameful and disgusting is that? But this is thanks to Mrs. Merkel, and that is a proof, Luca, that Mrs. Merkel not only has these refugees allowed to immigrate for humanity reasons only, but she's following the population exchange of Europe. She has put herself, in my opinion, over the law, and that's really, this is shaming, because I'm a European citizen, and I used to love Europe a lot, but now what I see, as you correctly mentioned, I was, if I could just say another example, I was sitting in the tram in Mannheim. This is a pretty nice city. It's multicultural, and it's very fine normally. And in this tram, there were two black guys, I guess from Africa or so, and there was a lady sitting there, and she standing there, and she asked the two sitting guys, please could I take a seat in the tram here, because she was really pretty old and with her rollator going. And the two guys, obviously French speaking, I don't know where they were from, they said, I know a little French, they said, excuse my bad talk now, I'm translating it exactly now. They said, we will fuck the Germans to death. And
wait, what did you say? What did you say? Say again. I didn't understand. What did they do to the Germans?
They said, after they had the lady, one stood up, the other kept sitting and going around and making fun of that lady. She was German, and the one guy said, we will F .CK them, the Germans, to death. This means...
Wait, let me understand, because this is... one second, no, it's not time, the audio is little not that good. And so you mean they will, you say like the word F-U...
Yeah.
I mean, they will rape the women to death?
Yes.
Wow.
No. They meant that they talked to each other in French language, and they said, we will like destroy the German population, but we will overflood them with our genetic, so to speak.
I see. And this is the truth. Unfortunately, this is exactly what they're trying to do. And by the way, the global elite is using these people that they are pretty much like the useful idiots, but they really believe this stuff, okay? I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, the point is, the threat is real. They use these barbarians because they are barbarians. When you live in a country that a woman is treated less, than a horse, I mean, seriously, you don't have basic rights as a human being, period. When you're under Sharia law, you are not a human. You are a freaking slave. That's why normally I don't care about which religion you believe. 99% of the religions out there in this century, at least, they're completely compatible with the rest of humanity. There is only one religion that, according to their books, there is no hope. That's why I said, I'm sorry, if you are really a true Muslim and you really believe your book is your main, only source of truth, you have no way to be compatible in a civil, a free society, because you will put your freaking God before any one of us, before our rights. That's the bottom line, and that's not going to happen. Period.
Right.
Especially in America. Right. That's not going to freaking happen. In Europe, unfortunately now, just because of this conversation I'm having, and I'm talking for myself, you didn't say anything, so terrible, but I would be at least fined or even arrested if I was having this conversation. Freedom of speech in Europe does not exist. Go ask to Brigitte Bardot. When she talk about this, about what's happening to her country, France, she wrote a letter to the editor. She was fined by the European freaking, Gestapo, because that's what they are. I'm sorry, this is true. The real Gestapo, it is the new European government. It was let's say the dream of every dictator. You cannot even have a freedom of speech. So, according to the European Tribunal, she was condemned, she was found guilty of hate speech just because she wrote in a nice letter that her country is being invaded by freaking illegal aliens. Simple as that. So, in America, we still have freedom of speech, and we will use it every way we can. Now,
that's true. It's true.
I want to give you the floor to close because, we have so much information. I have another topic to talk after you. Please give me a little bit your opinion, what you think about, last Sunday I was talking with my friend, the target individual from Michigan, Ken, about these electronic harassment techniques that they've been used against, allegedly, we say allegedly because, I don't have all the information, but, mainstream media reported it, the personnel, U.S. Embassy personnel in Cuba. So now these electronic harassment, sonic weapons, that normally we talk when I talk with, potential or alleged target individuals, normally they laugh at us when we talk about this. Now it's mainstream. What do you think, what's happening in Cuba? You think it's something that is the same type of technique used also against other targeted individuals?
Yes, Luca. I'm absolutely sure that the technique is the same as used all over the world. Like I'm a so-called TI. Never, ever had, before I had a slightest idea what that could be, until I found my grandletters on the pistols, until I got stalked, I got harassed, I got extremely attacked via these sonic weapons, and I think it's absolutely true. I agree with you that this. I also heard it from independent media that in Cuba it was the case like it used to be before, like with MK Ultra, with Phoenix program and so on. One can do a research if people want, but they are so silly. Like in Germany, excuse me, not all of them, but in Germany they rather prefer sitting in front of their TV and watching Bauer sucht Frau. This means a farmer is looking for his wife. Ha ha ha. So what? What all with the tortured victims here? This is happening. This is reality. Wake up, people. We are not living in Disneyland. This is true. I myself, I'm nearly every minute, 24/7, I'm tortured with. I'm still wondering what it is. Are these the perps outside with their mobile phones and antennas? Are these the steered satellites? Or is it the radar they can use on us? Following every step you make, every move you take. Look at this is so horrible. And I'm absolutely sure in Cuba this has happened. Excuse me my bad English. I think the question is who did it? Was it a distraction from something different or so? But the fact is we have to wake up. These weapons, we are just guinea pigs for the medical industry and so on.
All right, listen, I want to say my prayer for you and for all my brothers and sisters in Germany. We're awake and we want to stand for freedom, want to stand for humanity. We are all united under this. That's my belief. At the same time, I really hope you're going to take your country back. You're going to take your sovereignty back. You're going to take and preserve your heritage. And hopefully, one day, it is not just a German problem. It is unfortunately a European problem and also the rest of the world problem. I wish one day you would somehow get their right. That is a human right. It is not a privilege. It is not a permit. It is a human right that belongs to every human being the moment you were born. Like we have here in our Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms without government freaking permission, because it's our right to defend our life against anybody who wants to try to harm us. At the same time, it's your right, it's our right to defend our freedom against corrupted government. That's the way the Second Amendment was written in America. And unfortunately, at the same time I say fortunately for us, I wish this was a right that was in every Bill of Rights of every constitution of every sovereign country. Unfortunately, for the rest of the world, this is why I really believe America is still the last, hope for humanity, because we have this in our foundation, and they're trying to destroy us, because once we are gone, I believe the New World Order, finally, they will create a new model, and the model is exactly what's happening in China, what's happening in Cambodia. They will have the class, elite class, that really they're not going to be under socialism and desperation. They will have everything they want, living in a completely surreal world, and the rest of us, there's not going to be more middle class. We're all going to be slaves. We're all going to be poor, rich enough to eat. All they're going to give us some dirty food, a lot of vaccines, drink a lot of fluoride, become a slave, produce, and then die early. That's what they want us to be. So we got to fight back, and I hope we will just fight back with the ideas, with our, hopefully political system. I was hoping, honestly, you have maybe one day a new party, even in Germany, to say enough is enough of all these shows, and we have German People's Party. We want our country back. We want our borders. We want to stop this nonsense. And I hope everywhere else, Sweden and Italy, France, I hope, I pray. I give you a hug, okay?
Okay, just let me mention one thing. The problem is you are lucky in America because you have you have not that high fertility decrease, and the mortality rate is not that bad as in Europe. Like in Italy, it is the average rate now is 40 years in Italy, and up till 2050 it will be 53 years. So this is the reason why the government say, we need all the flooding with the different kind of humans from the country like that.
Yes, they destroy the bottom line. They destroy the family. They destroy also the manhood. I mean, the point is, it's not a conspiracy anymore. They want to depopulate the world.
No.
They do, and the way they want to do it, first of all, socially, brainwashing people, and also making it very economically difficult. To have a family in Europe, it's so difficult just to find the rent, to live in an apartment, and to have a car. You cannot afford anymore a car. I was talking to my mother, she's still in Rome, and by the way, I'm so sad because, to try to bring her here as an American citizen, it took me 2.5 years following the rules and all the bureaucratic paperwork, and I'm still cannot have her here as my special guest. Think about that. But if she was from Syria, wearing a freaking turban or some other stuff like that, probably she would be in front of the line right now in a public housing with a paycheck from the government. That's the bottom line. Yeah. So it's happening even here. Line. We got somehow, the point is, Europe is dying. And was that by design? They want to stop the population of Europeans, and they will replace it with the freaking barbarians from third world countries. That's the reality. I am responsible for this war. So anybody bug you there, say it's all luca-zanna's fault. Go get them in Arizona, okay? Because I tell you, sometimes, no, seriously, I know for sure. I am not wanted in England. I have a song called "God Damn the Queen," and it's been banned on some YouTube channels. Not kidding. And freedom of speech doesn't apply. If I was talking this conversation right now on European soil, the best case scenario I would be a lawsuit on my hands. That's the best case. Yes, and I tell you, there are enough for European laws. I would be arrested if I do not pay the fine. So they all can go to hell. I live in freaking Arizona. I got guns and I got freedom of speech. So that's my message.
Yes, that's France, yes. But and not in Germany.
We got freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is defended by our Second Amendment in Arizona. That's the bottom line. I give you a hug, okay, Nati? And one day, you know what I say? Emigrate to Arizona. I want all the good Europeans who believe in guns and freedom. I will sponsor you if I can. If I had a chance to do it, I can even do it for my mother, for God's sake. But if I had a chance, I would sponsor everybody escaping from Europe to Arizona. We need you guys.
Yeah, I have to go to Arizona as well. May I very shortly just sing a song for all the TIs and also for you, Luca, and for all the nice American people who still believe in freedom and freedom of speech. It goes like, God is great, can't you see, all the demons around us, curse be them, So I give you a big hug to the United States and all to your beautiful listeners, and I hope we can talk about another topic.
All right, Nati, thank you very much. All right, guys, do not go away. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom. This is luca-zanna. Sorry, the line wasn't exactly super clear. We're talking about across the ocean, and of course, sometimes Skype is not that clear. But guess what? I hope the message was clear. We are united against the New World Order. Don't go away. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna.
He's a songwriter, a poet, a rifleman.
I'm not afraid.
And a constitutional activist.
I'm not afraid.
Italian by birth.
I'm not afraid.
American by choice. Gianluca Zanna.
I'm not afraid.
And his new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom. 16 powerful songs on one CD from the heart of a patriot. For download or to order the CD, go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com. That's www.lovegunsfreedom.com. Lyrics for your mind, music for your heart. Gianluca Zanna's new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom.
Here we go, guys and girls. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca-Zanna. This is the final hour, the hour about love. There is so much to talk about, but, this week I wanted to focus exactly what's going on in Vegas. That is not just in Vegas, doesn't stay in Vegas. This will be around the world. This will be somehow the beginning of a new 1984 on steroids. We're already living in 1984, believe it or not, but this is going to be the new final, at least, stage. Now, I have a friend of mine that really I thank him because a couple years ago when I met him, he started to give me information that I took the time to research about the topic of, let's say, mind control, targeted individuals, things that few years ago, still now, they laugh at you, they call you crazy. Now finally, and I say finally sarcastically, you see in the mainstream news, you start to see this technique used on our government officials. I hate the word, by the way, officials. For example, like in Cuba, the diplomats, also CIA, field executive there. Yes, they were using mind control. At least they were using, let's say, sonic weapons or other type of electromagnetic weapons that we have no idea, but they had to put them out and they really put them in the media. Now, we know what's going on. At least we do not really know what's going on, but we have an idea that we've been told a bunch of lies by the government, by also the propaganda media about the Vegas shooter. And I would like to bring here my friend Ken from Michigan, that, by the way, is driving, is on the road, so in case, the line cut off, I will call you back, about what he thinks about what really happened in Vegas and why. And maybe is there a connection also with the trial of the Bundys coming next week? Ken, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Luca. Thank you for bringing me on.
Hey.
And, no, Luca, in Vegas, I'm going to go with 100% that it's the government controlled. I don't think one guy could lay this out and do it by himself. And Luca, the Bellagio and there's other casinos that got their windows and stuff shot out.
Mm-hmm.
And the people in the casinos made videos.
Are you still there?
They're getting taken down. So why is that? If it didn't happen, why are they taking these people's videos down?
Yeah, that's for sure. The videos is something that every time there is, like, say, something that we do not supposed to see, like the Pentagon, and any other situation like Oklahoma City, all the videos and cameras disappear. And, of course, there is much more. I also believe, may not even the point is, by the way, what is somebody beating? What is it, you? I hear like a hammer.
No, I'm perfectly fine. I didn't hear it.
Okay, I hear like a hammer. Somebody's beating the wall. Anyway, my point is, yes, the cameras, all these video cameras. By the way, Las Vegas probably is the most secure place in the world. You can go to the bathroom, to take a leak, and probably you got a camera there watching you, okay? And you want to tell me, with all this technology, with all this security, 1984 style, still they couldn't see an older guy, a senior man, carrying, 30 guns, 25 guns, 40 guns, up there to the 30th floor, supposedly, allegedly, with a bunch of ammunition, building 2 nests, sniper nests, they call them. By the way, this is not even a sniper. This is a full automatic weapons. And at the same time, nothing was noticed. This is like a joke. And the problem that, it would be fun if it wasn't so serious. But my point is, beside mind control, maybe this is not even the real shooter. Maybe it was just somebody they put there. They shot him in the head. Since we don't even know when he was found dead, we have no really independent, access to the autopsy. Could be just probably somebody that was set up, shot, left there, and give him the guilt. What do you think?
I think that's a possibility, because I know if you look at James Holmes, the Colorado shooter,
yeah,
his eyes was all bugged out. He looked like he was from outer space.
Mm.
And I can guarantee they had him under the mind control, but he had the mind control doctor, I think it's Julie, I forget his name, but he was his main psychiatrist.
Yeah.
So if they did it back then to James Holmes, why couldn't they do it again here?
Exactly.
I mean this is getting. Go ahead.
No, they can do it. The point is, we know very well that there is not only the technology, but also we have the evidence that in the past there are connections. One thing is connection. For example, most of these, let's say, crazy shooters out there, mass murderers, first of all, they are supposedly all one thing in connection. It's called big pharma, antidepressant, drugs, okay, legal drugs that they make you crazy. But I don't even think that's the case. I think in this case situation, specifically with this situation, there is probably could be mind control, but I really believe that there is also they just use him as a patsy, because the real shooters, it is impossible that one person, especially there is so much evidence that doesn't corroborate the official version. For example, there is no even brass. You can see the photos in this in the rooms where supposedly the shooter was blasting thousands of rounds, and you can even see a couple of brass, empty cases, brass. So much is not makes sense. And I talk about this also during the first and the second hour with 2 military people. But my concern is another one now. What really we are going to face right now to the next stage, because at this point there is also another event, by the way. It's called the Bundy's trial in Vegas, just the next few days, at the end of the month. Could be also there a connection. No, sometimes they try to the elite, let's say this dark government behind. They try to get different goals and to wrap them all together for their benefits. And one of them, I really believe, they want to set the example with all the Bundy followers, especially with the 2 guys that we know very well, Eric J. Parker Scott, that they for the 3rd time they're going to be tried. So maybe that's a connection too. What do you think?
Oh, I think it's a good possibility, because the prosecutor was trying to get plea deals, to take plea deals, and as soon as this happened, he started calling off the plea deal. Even though they made, I don't know if you heard or not, the Pete Santilli, the radio guy or the journalist.
Yeah.
They took. He's released right now. Everybody said he's free. No, he's not free. He's out of jail, but he's not free, because the judge told him, once you plead guilty, you can't go back on your guilty plea.
Wow.
And she told him, I do not have to go along with this sentencing.
Wow.
Because he's supposed to be pleading guilty to 1 felony and time served. And now his sentencing carries 6 years.
Oh,
so he goes back in for sentencing, and this judge has already did it to one of the other ones. She said, I'm not accepting your plea deal. So she may do the same thing to Pete, so I don't understand why Pete Santilli took a plea deal.
Yeah, and on top... Go ahead, finish.
Let me tell you something else. A friend of mine's nephew got shot there in Las Vegas. The FBI came out to his house. He said, no, I got shot by somebody on the ground. He said there was multiple shooters there. And they told him, no, there's only one shooter on the 32nd floor. That's where you got shot from. He said, no, I got shot from somebody on the ground. There's multiple shooters. So now they're trying to put pressure. Then the news came out and wanted to talk to him, and they're trying to do the same thing. Oh, no, you didn't get shot by somebody on the ground. You got shot from the 32nd floor. So why is the news pushing this, like, you don't know where you got shot from. You know, you can't hear a bullet when it hits you, where it came from.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of people that was on the ground saying multiple shooters. And this time they got 500 people to deal with. They said went to hospital. I got to believe out of that 500, they're not going to all go along just because the FBI threatened. So there's going to be some people that'll finally stand up to this FBI. Because they went into casinos and told them they wanted all of their tape, you know, all their tapes off their security. They and this. Now my understanding is, and this is only what somebody else has told me, that the casino told them, yeah, but we're keeping a copy of it. This is not going to be like Oklahoma City. You ran around and got all the security cameras, but yet none of it ever got released. And see, Las Vegas has got to be worried about the tourism and the people coming to gamble. People got to feel like they're safer, or this is going to hurt the casinos. Well, if you start hiding what they gave you or lying about it, they'll put it out on you. So I think they got big problems. I think this is going to really blow back on them.
Well, exactly. This is, I think there are different levels of cover-up. One of the reasons also could be the first layer could be just greed, because after all, you know, the moment that Las Vegas shows that is not safe, and there was not just a crazy old man, you know, like a lone wolf, but was an organized attack, a real terrorist attack. Now, regardless who did it or not, there was a planned military operation. The point is, at that point, Vegas market and would crash. That's why I really believe it. Let's not forget who pay the bills in Vegas. The casinos are the biggest advertisers of the local media and, of course, TV, radio stations, newspapers. And guess what? Who controls really the elections? Who pays more contributions? And who controls, at the end of the day, the mayor or the police chief? That's the bottom line. And there are many other layers that I don't even want to go when it comes down to recycling money for drugs. You want to mention the word CIA? So, no, I think really there are so many special interests who want to cover.
Critical alert from Microsoft.
Oh, my gosh.
Your computer has alerted us.
Oh, my
that
gosh.
it is infected with the virus and spyware.
Oh, my gosh.
This virus is sending your credit card details, Facebook login, and personal emails to hackers remotely.
Wow.
Please call us immediately at the toll-free number listed so that our support engineers can walk you through the removal process over the phone.
Wow.
If you close...
Oh, my gosh. I've been hacked. Are you there?
This page before calling us. We will be for...
I've been hacked while I was talking to you.
Really?
Yes. Did you hear? I mean, you cannot maybe hear the sound, but you will listen. I was opening one page, my browser, out of the blue, my Firefox, and it went crazy. My antivirus, it is off, being turned off. My firewall, it's off. And when you listen to the show, when you have a chance, probably you couldn't hear the sound. There was this page talking to me, and it is freaky. Pretty much said that, you know, I need to, this is like out of control. Wow.
Well,
wow.
Listen, they've been out of control for a long time.
No, I know, I understand. But, you know, I always think, you know, after all, I'm just really a nobody, okay? I'm a local radio host. So what really is this the point here, that they really care what I say? Sometimes people cannot even understand me with my accent, for God's sake. I think at this point they really are concerned. Or somebody is concerned. Anyway, my point I was saying, there are so many, I'm not going to stop. I don't care about this computer. I have a backup running. Screw you. That's the bottom line. But my point is, yes, there are many interests that they do not want to let the truth get out. And one of the special interests, I really believe, it is not just the casinos, of course, for the economic greed, but there is the official version of the story. Must be a crazy person who bought too many guns, who used this special, you know, piece of plastic called bumpfire stock, and by the way, it's useless, but that's going to be the excuse to start to legislate more and more on destroying what is left of our Bill of Rights. And more important, I really believe, is going to happen in Dow, also biggest distraction to the rest of the country, because something big is happening. Could be the war with Korea, could be the next situation with, Trump selling us out, I don't know. But something for sure is not right. And the NRA, of course, are selling us out. Many of these musicians, elite country singers now, they are completely selling us out. It's part of the show. And I believe that also the Bundy trial could be a connection. I'll give you the floor, Ken. Go ahead.
Well, I definitely think that being that they had all the plea deals out, and then all of a sudden they said that Steve Mallory, the prosecutor, said, "Oh no, all the plea deals are off." But to start with now is on the plea deals. Stop and think about it. Pete's out of jail right now. So supposedly he's going back to Ohio. I don't know where he's going.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, she didn't set his sentencing up till January the 11th.
Wow.
Because that way this trial will be over, because if she knows if she crosses him and gives him the 6 years, which I think that's what she's going to do. That's my own personal feeling.
Yeah.
That she's going to say, I ain't going along with this, because she made it very straight that when they were making the plea deal, that she does not have to go along with it.
Wow.
Why did she bring that up? And once he signs it, he can't back out.
Yeah.
So in this country, if me and you make a deal together and I break it, you can take me to court and sue me.
Yeah.
In the court system, they make a deal with you. The judge says, no, I ain't going along with it. I'm going to give you the 6 years now instead of the time served, and you got no recourse.
Exactly.
So that tells you right where we're at with the court systems in this country.
No,
now, I think Eric Parker and Dressler seen that, and that's why they didn't. They were supposed to get a misdemeanor with time served, and that was going to be it.
Yeah.
But the judge does not have to go along with it. So I don't know if their lawyers could have got the judge to sign a paper that she went along with this, and once she signs them, then I think she would be obligated to do it. But I doubt this judge Navarro is going to sign a deal where she's going to go along with it. She wants to bury every one of these guys for as long as she can in the prison to send a message to the rest of the sheeples.
Question: what do you think about the situation that I heard from a post on Facebook from the wife of Eric Parker, that the lawyer, Eric Parker's lawyer, just fired himself, just gave up a couple days ago, just a week or so before trial. Do you know anything about it?
I think he was mad because Eric wouldn't take that plea deal because he thought it was a good plea deal. But he's got to know this judge doesn't have to go along with it.
Yeah.
So why would he get mad? But then he withdrew it yesterday. His motion to be taken off the case. So I thought he was one of the better attorneys there, to be honest with you.
Mm.
But these attorneys think, man, you had a perfect deal. No, you didn't have a perfect deal because the judge don't have to go along with it. Exactly.
That's true. Well, let's put it this way. This is going to be very interesting at the end of the month. Unfortunately, I think, as I said, things that they are not over. Now, of course, the new legislation, it's in the process, not just for the Second Amendment, by the way. It's very sad when you see something that, like the NRA, that, by the way, I always knew that they are a joke. They are what you call the gatekeepers, okay? And this is coming from NRA instructor. Okay, I'm a certified NRA instructor, handgun, shotgun, rifle, home defense inside the house, outside the house, doesn't matter. My country comes first, okay? As much as I may say, okay, you have a decent curriculum when it comes down to teaching, training. When it comes down to politics now, you're showing exactly what you've been doing also in the past, supporting unconstitutional actions to suppress the Second Amendment right. And this is one of the examples. People don't understand that this is not about the bonfire stock. That, by the way, we know very well. Every expert can tell you that it wasn't used, this piece of plastic. It was a real fire of a real automatic weapon. But the point is now they will start to legislate to try to destroy the Second Amendment, of course, back on that. But I really believe the new stand is going to be now justification to live under a complete police state. And everywhere you go is going to be a metal detector, and they're going to have the right to put their hands between your crotch. That's what it's going to be. And maybe even worse. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we're losing our freedoms. We were losing it over the years because I'm 73, and I've seen our freedoms being eroded about 25 years ago. But it was real subtle. They was taken away from us. Even our First Amendment. Then they come out this hate speech. You can't say something that's hateful. I may say something that you think is hateful, but 99% of the other people don't think it's hateful. So where does my free speech get put on there that if it's hateful, I can't say it? I can see when you go into a movie theater and you can't go on and holler fire and cause a big eruption, then they should be able to take you to court and try you for something like that.
Yeah.
But as far as me going in and telling people what they're doing and why they're doing it, my beliefs in it, like I say, I've seen so much. Go ahead, Lucas.
No, they didn't say anything. By the way, I'm still freaking out about the computer that now I want to see if I can reopen the browser because I've been infected while we were talking. And it's funny because it's very, oh my God, I'm finding crazy stuff in my computer. Listen, Ken, I really say we got to really stick together as Americans, as human beings. What's happening right now, it's happening everywhere, but I really believe America is the last thing they need to destroy. I really not much more hope for President Trump, I must be honestly, because at this point, or they got him by fear, because after all, they show who is in control, or maybe it was just part of the plan. This is just my humble opinion, of course, but there is so much now he could have done, and nothing is happening. It's just following the agenda, and that's what I really fear. What do you think?
Yes, bomb. That's all this country's ever done, Lucas.
Yeah.
If we want to put a different leader in, so we can steal their gold like they're doing down in Africa right now. They're actually taking over the local people's gold mines, and you don't hear none of this in the news. They're stealing the gold. They're stealing everything from every country in the world, all the minerals. And if they don't want us to steal them, we just go around and bomb them and kill them all. So
yeah.
I don't have very much to say about our government, but really I should, because we the people are supposed to be the government in charge, not the elite. But we let that get switched around on us.
Exactly.
And they're doing it at a rapid speed right now.
I believe in the vision of our founding fathers when they said, government for the people, by the people, but the point is this government is no more by the people. This is a government controlled by the elite, and they control government to use and enslave us. That's the bottom line. At that point, let's look at history. The history of humanity. Governments have been proven to be the number one source of murders, mass murders. I mean, look at, for example, China, Germany, Italy. I mean, look at also, I don't want to say bad things, but, there is part of the American government has been doing terrible things. You want to talk about what happened to the Indians, to the native Indians, and, of course, the concentration camps and the experiments. Wars. The point is, governments is proven fact since the beginning of history is the number one mass murder. So I say, maybe we should ban governments, not ban guns. And free people should be able to live freely. After all, you say what? How would you feel? Really, what has been doing the federal government for us, besides $20 trillion in debt, the creation of a private bank called the Federal Reserve that enslave us, wars and wars and endless wars, and the destruction of our basic Bill of Rights that our founding fathers fought and died to give it to us. I think I'm better off, to fend for ourselves, don't you think?
Oh, I believe any of us could run the government better than what it's being run right now. That's my opinion of what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's all, they've got so dishonest and so, they're stealing so much that they think now that they're above the law and they got a right to do that, and we shouldn't have any say in how much they can steal.
Yeah.
If we try to stop them stealing, they'll do just like they did at the Bundy Ranch. They'll come back and try to put everybody they can in prison to put fear in the rest of the people so they don't do that again. That's what this is all about.
Yeah. All right, listen, I want to thank you. Be safe, drive safe. Let's be in touch next week. Let's see what happens. And also there is your friend from New York State, Mr. Brinko. I wanted to talk to him this week. It's been crazy. Tell him I'll try to talk to him next week to have him on the show, okay?
Okay, I'll tell him.
All right,
thanks,
my friend.
Luke, and you have a great day.
Thank you. That was Ken Rhoades on the road, of course, from Michigan. Now, this is the end of the show. I want to be sure where, people understand what I'm trying to do here. I love America. I love this country. I love this republic. The point is, this is no more the republic that our founding fathers fought and died for. This is anymore now become really like a police state. And every day they find new ways to try to enslave us because our real biggest enemies, it is our fear. let's not forget, government in general feeds and grows on our fears. I say do not fear anymore, and at that point, government, we will go back to the point it was supposed to be. A small government for the people, by the people, of the people. Anyway, thank God, I'm still around today. We'll see what happens next week, because I really have no idea. But do not forget, if you want to support the show, go to lovegunsfreedom.com. You can find my ebooks, music, Zanna Coffee, everything. lovegunsfreedom.com. Thank you very much. God's willing, I'll talk to you next time. Ciao.